I don't
will
see,
be
or I
to
won't see,
open
but I
YouTube
see.
on your own end and mute it so we don't get the feedback. And you should be able to see all the messages come in, and you'll be able to see what I can see as well, because you won't be able to see what I'm looking at.
I'm so nervous.
Oh, I see. I know.
So
Now I'm with people who can actively
so
say, "Hey, you're
we
wrong."
are
Like right now, instead of
live in
messages
public,
and just ignoring the messages 3 weeks
and
later.
we're just waiting on
Yeah.
everything to
Right.
kind of sort
Absolutely.
itself out.
So nervous.
Man, you're the king of live feeds. I don't know what you're worried about. Okay. So we're all.
I don't see it.
So, what do I pull up?
Like right now, instead of getting messages and just ignoring the messages 3 weeks later. Oh, there we go. There it is. It just came up.
Absolutely.
So if you guys will pull up the YouTube, you should be able to see
Yeah.
what everyone else is seeing.
Yeah.
And so we already got 3 viewers. So
I don't see it.
So, what do I pull up?
Right.
hello, Carl. Just go to YouTube and go to the channel. It should be there.
Brother
By the way,
Smith.
Fluff, you were talking
Brother
about
Smith,
the
I
trolls
see you.
in the
Carl,
comments and everything.
How you doing?
I don't remember what
Where y'all
video
seeing
it
comments
was.
at? I don't see the comments
It
at
was
all.
some video I made like last week, because I've only been doing
Yeah,
it like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't
See,
checked it for like there was a point where I was so busy I
on
didn't
mine,
check TikTok for like 2 hours.
it
What's
came
up,
up
Charles?
on my phone
Cody, how are y'all?
Oh, you're on the phone.
But
Let me do it on
I'm
the
not.
phone then.
I'm not super tech like you guys. I have to have
Are you
multiple
on
devices.
on the live
For the
stream?
past like 45 minutes, we have not been super
Where are
tech
you
at all
seeing
over
the
here.
comments at, Dennis?
Dude, I just stopped using my floppy drive. I'm telling you. In fact, here's my computer right here. You see this? I took it apart a couple of weeks ago. I have to have multiple devices.
For the past like 45 minutes, we have not been super tech at all over here.
Okay.
Dude, I just stopped using my floppy drive.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
In fact, here's my computer right here. You see this? I took it apart a couple of weeks ago.
But anyway, Fluff, what I was gonna say a minute ago. So I pulled up TikTok just to see where everything is at, and it had like 149 comments. I was like, holy cow, what happened?
You know,
so I
really
jumped to
fun is
my
when the
subscribers.
trolls
Of course,
start
my
arguing with
subscribers
themselves,
didn't
'cause,
change a whole lot. So
you
it
know,
was
as a
like 2 or 3
Freemason, the
guys
cool
just
thing
back
is
and
you
forth.
always have that brother
149
there
comments.
who wants to
2 guys
support you,
arguing
and they got your
with
back.
one nut
But at
job.
the end of the day, what happens is the trolls start
149
spreading so
comments.
many lies.
Like, I guess that's
that
good.
They
It
kind of
shows
start
engagement,
chewing each
right?
other
But-
out, and that is classic. To just watch that bridge burn. I love it. It's one of my favorites.
We got a lot of guys here, Cody and
Who wants to support you? Oh, hey Cody, you see the shirt?
Ahmad, Carl.
You see the shirt? Yeah.
That's a good-looking shirt.
Let me tell you something. I'm just gonna let y'all know, San Antonio Hat Company is not only my favorite name for Masonic company, but they do
There's so
some
much
great
nonsense out there they
apparel,
can't keep up with
and
themselves.
we're definitely gonna be ordering more. So
Well, I like that. I like that shirt. It goes along with the square and compass that I like the best, which is the English style.
oh, you're a ULG GE guy.
UGLE. That's a beautiful square and compass. So I'm
Nice.
sorry.
I agree.
You know, that shirt, it goes You're too smart for me.
I mean, it's cool. You know, if you really want to go back to England, you just got to remember, we won in 1776. I don't know what you're trying to do right now, but we already won that war.
That's a
Trying to
ugly
keep
square
it
and
ancient.
compass.
Sir.
UGLE, ugly.
Well, you're a 4-letter Mason. You got that going.
But my boots have the G on there. Just so it makes you happy.
Happy is saying they can't hear us.
That's probably good.
Well, you're a 4-letter. Can you hear me now? Good. Do you got the Teskies? Is that?
Yes. Can y'all hear me? Can the people hear us?
Is saying they can't hear us.
You can't hear us.
I can
Will
hear you.
somebody say yes?
Let me
We
tweak
can
with
hear
some
you.
settings.
Can you hear me now? Good.
Happy?
Do you got the Teskies? Is that what those are?
Let me do this.
Oh, now I
Yeah.
can. Oh, okay.
Yes. I don't have
Try
anything.
that.
Can Yes,
I can.
brothers out there.
I can hear you.
This is these pesky boots. They're pretty worn. I've had them for a while.
Well, someone heard because they
so that
see
these are
those compliments on the shirts.
Are
y'all getting a lot of feedback noise or not?
Gift from my wife for becoming a worshipful master in 2019.
No, the viewers. Dennis, if you have
out there, these are the Teskey boots. They're pretty worn. I've had them for a while. Just so that these are the black. I got those as my gift from my wife for becoming a worshipful master.
Well, don't hurt them. Just hurt them.
If Dennis or Zach, if you
we're on live, there's certain ways you gotta say things.
I think you said you had it up on your phone.
Right.
Be sure you muted it if you did, because we're getting
how to mute my phone.
A little feedback. Mm-hmm. All right, you guys keep talking. I got to hurt my.
Just turn your cell phone volume all the way down. Well, don't hurt them. That's what I did, and then I flipped my switch.
Hurt them like cats.
Your switch.
We're on live. I flipped my switch. Well, since I'm having to use it off a phone, I might as well put my stand up. Guys, we are really prepared today, as you can see. But you
got all the coolest stuff. You got all the gadgets, guys. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. If you like what's happening right now, you need to donate $2 to Masonic Improvement so that we can have cool microphones and phone stand up. I'm using my cases as my phone stand up. I'm leaning my phone. I'm leaning my phone against the cases.
I need it to be this way so I can see the dadgum comments.
We're actually gonna come out with we've got some hats that we're gonna come out with and a few different things that.
Oh no!
There you are.
I just killed my bro.
You're back.
Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Okay, I think we're back by the webcam. Oh yeah, we flipped to internal. Dadgum. Well, that was a clean, quick switch there. I kind of appreciate that. Let's go back here. And I gotta hit that button physically. Button. There we go. Now watch this. Now we go back to the way I wanted it.
How's that?
On your side? I don't know.
I guarantee you it's my phone that's causing the echo because I don't know how to mute the damn thing. Tell you what, I'm going to turn my phone off. And
yeah, if worst comes to worst, Justin can just read us the questions that come in.
I don't even care, guys. I just don't care. I'm done. I'm done.
Am I able to go live on TikTok as well? I am able to go live on TikTok, but I don't want to go live on TikTok as well. Because then you have two platforms that are working with each other or working against each other, and I'm just not going to do that tonight.
Yeah, unless you're in downtown Dallas or San Antonio where you can have, 100 meg service, and that's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Here in Goliad, I have 18 megs.
I do have a streaming service that I use, and I can, and do multicast at one time, but I'm not quite there yet.
That's not going to be good.
Is my camera showing up completely on the YouTube? I don't see myself on YouTube. I do have a streaming service that I use, and I can. And
let the millennial fix that for you.
I'm not quite. Hey, listen here, Boomer. All right. Is on the YouTube?
Hey, I'm Gen X.
That's what all the people want to be. Everybody who says
that's
they're
weird.
Gen X, they're super cool.
All right, let me fix that for you.
Oh, that 7-second play is trippy.
Millennial fix that for you.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. Here, Boomer.
Okay. Lates.
Yeah. Hey, good to see you guys. Sutliff, I see that you're on. Congratulations to the newest prophet monarch of the Grottos International, I guess. Nobody else has been made since yesterday. Oh, that
very cool.
Is trippy.
Yeah, it is.
You don't know what the grotto is? I love it. Okay.
All right.
They have the cool fezzes. They have the cool fezzes.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I want to go grotto.
Once you go black, you never go back, is what they say.
Wow.
That's what I heard. That's.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds really cool.
You don't know what the grotto is?
I know what the grotto is.
Wow,
I don't know
going
what the.
black.
I don't know anything about it.
That,
The black ones.
Oh yeah.
I need to take this vest off.
So we're actually
Come and take it.
we're actually having a
Just so-
conversation at my lodge. Not like a big conversation, but some people. No. So we're right now we're trying to get a. Now I can't edit you out of live, Dennis, just so you know. But where was I even going with this? Oh yeah. So see what this is the stuff I would normally edit out of our video, because Dennis just jacks me up, man. But so we're trying to get a commander right now at my lodge. But after down the road, we're talking about possibly taking possibly, right? Not for sure. So if everyone you want to know, if any brothers hear this that I know personally, well, I know you all personally, but if any
I think
brothers
it's
from
just
my area
22
hear
of your
this,
favorite Masonic
it's
besties
a possibility.
who want to
We're
get together
not
and make a
pursuing
grotto.
it actively.
I think.
The
I don't know
possibility
for
of
sure.
getting a grotto at my lodge, because the amount of brothers you have to get to sign up really isn't a lot,
You can add in
and I
a
think
couple
we're far enough
stoplights and
away
get
from all
that
the
kind
other
of spread out
grottos
evenly.
to possibly get one.
Yeah,
I
think that'd
think
be
it's
easy.
just 22 of your favorite. Let me just put it this way: the way that the guys were talking to us, if you want a
I'm probably
grotto,
going to be 45
by
minutes
God, we'll
away
get
from
you
the
a
nearest
grotto.
grotto.
And here's the crazy thing about grotto: it's been around longer than the
I see.
shrines.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. Just put it this way: the way that the guys were talking to us.
No, it's not me.
By God, we'll get you a grotto. And here's the crazy thing about grotto: it's been around longer than the shrines.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. I got it on
Hey,
on
Dennis,
3
do you still have
devices right
YouTube
now. I
up?
look okay.
No, it's not me.
No, that's not what I'm asking, man. I was asking if
Hey,
Fluff is showing up like he should on YouTube, because in my preview he's not, but on...
all right, guys. So the guys in chat, I just want to let you know. I think everybody's kind of been
Okay,
to one of my
all right,
lives before,
good.
so we kind of discussed
it
this
just
and we
keeps
know everything.
resizing
First
you
off,
guys. Like, I don't-
whatever I say is
like
not
we said
reflective
earlier,
of my
like,
lodge
you
or the
get
Grand
what
Lodge
you
of
pay for
Texas.
with OBS,
That goes the
but
same for
I'm
Dennis
not-
Yates, especially.
I'm not terribly...
Even though he's representing the
you.
Grand Master tonight in
That's all
those
good.
fancy clothes.
Oh my gosh! See, now I've done it. Now I've got to be on my best behavior. Okay, because I really ought to be anyways. I really ought to be. Anyway.
Yeah, you're done. You're done.
Uh,
Dennis Yates, especially.
I'll just sit and watch y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! See, now you've done it. Now I've got to be on my best behavior.
It's too late for that.
I'm always down. Always down for a good discussion.
It's too late to be on your best
Where are you
behavior.
People
recording
have
this
some
on?
truth.
You're done.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. You're gonna get a phone call now.
Hey, Justin. Oh, he just left. He turned on the fuzzy background and
No,
left.
it's too late, man.
I know,
Well,
he
it's
does
all
that.
in now.
He
You're
does
all in.
that.
Let
He
me,
heard his kids, and so he's going to tell them to be quiet. He's going to slap them around a little bit. No, he doesn't really. He doesn't really slap his kids around. I've seen him. He's really nice. His daughter broke her leg, honestly, on her own.
One of us need to turn off our sound. I have my sound running completely through my headphones, and I don't have any live audio running through at all. And I'm only listening to what they're putting out to me, so I don't hear anything else. And all of my devices are turned down. I'm jacking up the audio? How?
I was gonna say I don't have anything on.
Because I sound super clear just coming to you and Justin.
Yeah,
I mean,
you sound
in
clear to
my
me
ears.
too. I don't hear the echo. That's weird.
I don't know. Okay. So how's this getting recorded? Like worst case scenario, we just put it out as a recording, right?
Well, the echo isn't our end. It's coming.
Oh
from
no,
YouTube
so we'll get the
for
echo
some
in that
reason.
too. Oh, that stinks. We're just gonna keep talking.
Yeah,
so
it's getting recorded.
let's just keep
Absolutely.
talking about
Has
something.
anybody even
No,
asked
no,
any
no.
questions?
It's being
I was
recorded. I'm
hoping
sorry,
to
it's
get
being
some really
recorded
hard
through
ones.
YouTube.
No,
As
no.
you know,
Carl
Justin's
says it sounds
too
good
easy.
now.
Oh no, so we'll get that too.
Charles
Yeah,
Smith says
yeah, it's
Justin
coming through
fixed
that.
it when he left.
Let's see.
Heath Sutliff says it
Well,
seems to be
let
fixed.
me, y'all just keep
William
talking. I'll
says
figure it
fluff
out
sounds
while-
good
while
now.
we do it.
Steve C says sounds good now. I think we sound good. Let's get into it. Let's have
All right, let's do it. Let's do
You
it.
guys ask some questions. You guys let us know what's
Yes.
going on.
Carl says it sounds good now.
Exactly.
Charles Smith says
Well,
Justin
first,
fixed it
before
when
they
he
start
left.
asking questions, I'm going to
Heath
say
Sutliff says it seems to
we
be
had a
fixed.
great
That's what
fundraiser
usually
tonight.
happens.
If you guys don't
Steve C
take
says it sounds
advantage
good now.
of
I
the
think we
Valentine
sound good. Let's get into it.
season to do your fundraiser,
You guys ask
man,
some
take your
Well, I'm
wives
back
out,
now, so that's the
invite
problem.
widows
Let's
out.
see.
You know, that's a excellent way that you can make money for your lodge as well as support your widows. We make ribeye steaks and salad and baked potatoes, not smashed potatoes, and lots of good desserts and stuff that the Eastern Star usually make up for us. And we do this as a Valentine's present to our wives, and then we also invite widows out to enjoy the time as well. And people can come by and pick it up too. So you sell your tickets and they turn them in, they get their food, they can stay or go or whatever. It's up to them. But Valentine's Day, if you're not cashing in on that cash cow, you just might as well shut your doors and go home. That's all I got to say. That's my big push on Valentine's Day.
Or if you want to be really cool, you get a grotto charter on the week of Valentine's, and you end up having to do like 3 things with your wife and brothers, and you spend so much money that it feels like the whole weekend was based on Valentine's Day. That's these are relationship tips from Fluff.
Exactly. Well, and you bring up a good point. The best way to stay involved in Freemasonry is do stuff with your wife. Invite her in.
Yeah.
You know, whatever you do, you make sure your wife is there every once in a while, or you won't get to do it very long.
So we just got a question in here. How does it feel? This one goes to me. I'm sorry. How does it feel getting our grotto chapter as set up as an official chapter? It feels awesome for me. And I didn't even play a huge part in it. I did a lot of traveling. I talked to every lodge that I visited, but that's something that I do anyways. So it's like, hey, while I'm here, might as well tell them about the grotto. Not a big deal. But I know for our monarch, and I can't remember the other titles, but for our monarch, secretary, our second in line, third in line, everybody really worked their butts off on getting this done. And it's crazy because it feels like it's done and it's finished. But guess what we just did? We just set up another cornerstone of Lubbock Masonry for the next 100 years. So the work is really just beginning. We have so much work to do. We don't even get a time to breathe.
Yes.
So,
Now it's time to start putting your grotto to work and giving it a good reason for being there.
Yeah. Steve Sperry, what's going on? National Treasure Show is being made by Disney Plus. There's a new National Treasure.
Oh.
That National Treasure is what got me into Masonry, boys. I don't know if y'all know that or not. I mean,
Yes.
it's one of the things that got me in Masonry. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Fluff.
Yeah, I don't know what to go ahead with.
Well, that's cool. That's awesome that National Treasure is coming out again, because you're right. I did too, man. Now my grandfather, and I've told the story a few times. My grandfather was 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason, and I was always excited. He was actually a member of the Nile Shrine up in Washington State, because he was one of the guys that work on the Alaskan pipeline, and
Right.
that shrine actually has their own golf course. These guys got it going on. Talk about thinking outside the box for generating money. Those guys got it going on. But anyways, so he was a pretty active Mason, and yet my father never did join. It's just like, it's that generation. So my dad never joined, so I didn't really know a whole lot except for what some people said in my family about my grandfather and what have you, and what I'd heard, and but when I saw National Treasures, like, oh yeah, that's in fact, I'm coming up with some products that use actual cipher rings and stuff like that, so that you can get into them. You just wait and see.
Oh,
I love National Treasure. I can't wait.
The Dennis Vinci Code is what we're going to push out. The new line of
absolutely
Yates LLC, Dennis Vinci. No, for me, like, it was really, because I'm a baby Mason, and I don't know if the guys in the chat understand how cool this is for me, because I've been watching Masonic Improvement podcast for quite a while, like since I was an EA at least. So it's been since 2019. My great great grandfather was the last Freemason in my family. I didn't have any Freemasons before that, or after that. My grandfather was really into Masonry, and I think he would have made an amazing Mason, but he didn't think that he could be made a Mason. Like, he was always like, we don't have a lineage, we don't have a bloodline, we don't have this, we don't have that, you can't be a Mason. Well, I didn't know. So whenever I found out that I could be a Mason, and went through the whole process, I was thinking about it and I loved it. Well, he was into the Da Vinci Code. He was into National Treasure. He liked reading those books. He loved American history. He loved the Civil War history. And of course, the Texas independence. Like, all of that is so intertwined in Masonry. That's what we talked about, and we were best friends. Well, whenever Master Curry came around last year and was doing his Grandmaster's conferences and messages, he went around the room, as I'm sure that both of you saw. He went around the room and asked, "Why were you made a Mason? Why were you made a Mason?"
I was there, remember?
You were at mine?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Yes.
I don't remember that far, but I was dumb enough to sit there and listen to
OLT. That was the OL weekend.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, then you remember all the beautiful stories of, oh, my grandpa was a Mason. Oh, I was raised by Masons that weren't my family, or my father-in-law wouldn't let me marry my wife until I became a Mason. All those weird, crazy stories.
Right.
And then he points at me, and I'm like, I'm not gonna copy. I'm not gonna do that. And I was looking out, and I saw Right Worshipful Sutliff. I saw Right Worshipful Morgan. They barely knew me at all. And I was just like, Nick Cage and Grandmaster Curry is awesome. And he just rolled right into the next topic, which was, and we need to be having more Masonic movie nights in lodges, But yeah, I'm kind of an idiot that way. But if we're looking at today, we're good men learning about Masonry. They're learning about it online, and they're learning about it from the media and whatever the media pushes out. And even with the craziest lies, like, no, we do not have Teddy Roosevelt's golden boogers. We're not hiding gold bars up there. But wherever we are at, there's always this sort of, could this be true? Is this actually a secret? And we need to be there for good men looking to find real answers. So absolutely. I take good media with bad. That's why I let trolls in my rooms. I don't care if I'm getting trolled. A troll is simply my toy to play with. They put you up on algorithms. Guys, if y'all are trying to do any TikTok, any YouTube, anything at all, trolls will get you on the algorithm. They'll get your content shown, and you can attack them as much as you want. Do so in due form and due process, and make sure that you're keeping your passions within due The day after Travis Scott, there was a whole bunch of, this was done by the Illuminati. This was a portal to hell. There were people who were really hurting, people who were really missing their loved ones, and it was just a bunch of kids trying to have fun.
Yes.
Whether or not I agree with the way they were trying to have fun, they got hurt and they did not go home that night. So we didn't talk about that. I do not talk about blood sacrifice. But everybody else is free game. Everybody else is free game. We'll play, we'll talk, and eventually sometimes I do just kind of let them wander off and do their own thing. But you know what? The very next video, they come back. They always come back, and I don't get it, but they're always there. And then you get your account deleted one day, and you're like, what did I do?
Yeah, I don't get a whole lot of trolls really in the secular world. Mine come in the Freemason world, but you know, really they're not even that bad. You know, most of anything that I talk to somebody about that is found, let's say, controversial. It's not really so controversial. It's just more of a misunderstanding, because you know, we say things, and this is one of the things that I don't like about technology, because when you're texting people and forth, you know, people hear in their head the way you're texting, they're hearing something else rather than what you're texting. So a lot of times when you're on social media and whatnot, you know, it's really just misunderstood information. And it's kind of like that episode we had a couple of episodes back. I got a little bit excited and I said, you know, past master, shut your mouth, you know. And that was really just to make a statement that, you know, we need to, you know, keep ourselves in check during our degrees and put on a good absolutely because it wasn't really ugly. And then at the end of the show, you know, of course, I always try.
Do you guys see the amount of trash they're talking about me over here?
No, well, see, that's what you get.
They're saying I'm fluffing it up. They're saying, oh, okay, I see. But these are people that I go to lodge with.
Well, and they're right, because, you know, Justin and I, we're pretty we're pretty mundane people.
Yeah. No, y'all.
See, he's still on the audio. he's still yeah. He's the introvert that's hiding because he's nervous because we're live. That's what it is.
Carl, I do not like the goat at all.
And me neither. Goats have no place in Freemasonry.
Thank you. Oh, you guys don't see it. Dennis is on this side of my screen. But on the program screen, he's down here. So thank you, Dennis. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, so for myself, you know, whenever I went through the degrees, I got super nervous before my EA degree. Like nervous to the point where I almost bailed because I was just freaking out about it. I had not went down rabbit holes the whole time, and then the day of my degree, I took off early and I watched YouTube, and I watched one YouTube video where it was supposedly a worshipful master who now I know was never a worshipful master, but he was supposedly a worshipful master. He's talking about all this bad stuff, and it just like really hit me, and I was like, crap, I need to call my preacher. So I called my preacher and I asked him, if I become a Freemason, will I go to hell? Just tell me right now. Just be completely honest. Will I go to hell? And he's like, no, you're not going to go to hell. We have several Freemasons in our church. I have a feeling that after you go through this, you will actually meet them. So, you know, that was some reassurance to me, but I was still nervous. So before I got there, I was prayerful in my own self. I was prayerful. And I was just saying, hey, God, if there is anything in this that I see that will go against your will, tell me to leave. I'll leave 100%. And then right before the degree, when I'm sitting in the room preparing myself, they come in, they read this book. It's reassuring me. Right before we get up and start doing stuff, they reassure me. When we're in the degree, I get reassured. There's so much reassurance. And then when your name changes from Mr. Candidate to brother, you're reassured again that you are on a correct path that is in no way going to danger you. So it's just, yeah. And I hate the go.
I agree. I agree, and I think that to me, I get disappointed with any kind of laughing, disruption, or any kind of joking about what you're doing, because it is a serious time in your life. It's a life-changing event, and you know, it's just like when you have a baby, when you get married. You know, it's a life-changing event. You will never be the same once you go through the degrees of Freemasonry, and so for people to joke about a goat or that's really disheartening. And that's also why I said on that one video, I said, you know, shut your mouth, past master, because I was talking about people that blurt out, you know, if somebody gets something incorrect while they're doing it, and somebody blurts out from the sideline, you know, what the correct word is or whatever. Being too hung up on the these and that's and thous is just, it's a bunch of crap, and it doesn't show that you're any smarter. All it shows is that you want to ruin somebody's, you know, somebody's moment. That's not even your moment. That's not the lodge's moment. It's that person's moment that's in there at that very time. And so yeah, absolutely, 100%.
And that's the only degree that they're ever going to get and they're ever going to experience. And I'll tell you one thing, I did not remember a dang thing from my personal degrees after it was all done. Right. EA is like a freaking fire hose being shoved in your mouth and turned on till water comes out your ears. You don't remember the process. You don't get it. Fellowcraft is beautiful, but you're sitting there in Fellowcraft and it's like, I'm anticipating everything because I experienced what happened in EA. I'm expecting to experience it now, and guess what? It doesn't happen. So you're left wondering what the hell just happened here. And then in Master Mason, it's like, okay, I get it. I'm not going to understand anything. And Master Mason goes into a complete different form, and you're just like,
right.
So there's nothing that you remember. That's why we do the proficiency, so you remember. That's why you go to other degrees, so you can remember.
Yes.
And I was raised. Well, I wasn't raised. I went to college on a theater scholarship a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You know what happened when we missed a line in a play? If it was a good cast, you just rolled with it. Right, so if we're doing a degree on a new candidate or a new brother, just roll with the dang thing. They're not going to remember. And then if you were so tight and you're so freaking, you got your wristalistic pants all the way up to your freaking nipples because you're wearing your pants so high, come tap me on the elbow and whisper in my ear after the degree and say, hey, brother, you did a really good job, but you might want to do this next time, or you might be careful where you do this next time. That's all you got to do. That is all you have to do, because guess what? It might be my first time to play senior deacon for a part. You know, I'm just as nervous as that candidate is. And if you want other people to get up there and give the lectures and give the degrees and confer the degree and, even a charge, then shut up and let them try and talk to them later and figure out how to make them better. So shut up, past master. See you there, Dennis? I did it with you.
Thank you. We're pretty soon we're gonna have bumper stickers out that say "Shut up, past master."
But no, that's a huge deal. You never stop a degree to tell somebody how they're doing something wrong. You never do that.
Right, because
but
if you just be quiet, it turns out to be a beautiful degree. It's going to be the best degree they ever had, and everybody ends up happy. So I don't know. I've never seen anybody walk away from a degree just going, oh, I can't believe that was the worst degree I've ever seen.
We got ourselves a possible troll here. San Juan Mac. Who is more worshipful, God or the worshipful masters? I'm going to let you guys answer this. I deal with this question all day.
There's only one God. Worshipful only. It's an old English. It's an old English term that means honorable. It's just like when we talk about judges and things like that. Back in the day, they used to call them worshipful judge or what have you. And so it's just an old English term. What it means is honorable. And even in public, a lot of times I won't say worshipful sir or grandmaster or whatever. And that way, it's just not throwing out any crazy, because there's too many people out there that think that it's a cult because of that's one single word. And all it means is honorable and so God is always going to be above anything else that he creates, and there's no turning back from that. So take it for what it is. That's the truth. You've heard it from Dennis.
And I'm gonna add on to it here, and this is just my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't care. If you don't understand the structure of Freemasonry and the way that our lodges work, then you're not going to understand the title of worshipful master to begin with.
Right.
Because the thing about worshipful master, depending on jurisdictions, they serve 1 year or 2 year terms. And you might, in small rural towns, you might get a couple that, come back and forth quite a few times. But that 1 year or 2 year term, you could literally have a worshipful master who is a janitor at a school district, right? Cleaning toilets all day. And then you'll get this new bank manager who comes in town and is interested about Freemasonry. And that new bank manager or president of the bank is an entered apprentice now. And he's getting his degrees conferred by that janitor. Worshipful master is simply showing reverence to who's in charge of the lodge. They set the agenda. They have the gavel. They rule and govern over us as we are continuing through that Masonic year. And then guess what? After their year and term is done, they're out. New boy comes in. So it's not getting them a title that's higher or more powerful than God. We're just saying that they have the right, have the authority to govern us as they see fit for that ensuing year.
Yes. And to build on that, when you're the miss comes in when you think of Masonry as some kind of a religious thing, and it's not a religious thing. We talk about philosophy. We talk about philosophy and different types of religions and stuff, but there's only one God. But we don't talk about religion in lodge. Those are actually discussions that we have outside of lodge. We will sit down with a bourbon or a beer and sit and talk about different philosophies and stuff. And it's because of the lodge setting that we become comfortable. The janitor becomes comfortable with the president of the bank, and they can sit down together over a meal or whatever and sit and talk about all the fascinating things in life, like philosophy and different things going on in the world without having conflict. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of Freemasonry is you can't think of it like a religion because it's not. And that's where people get the mistake. They make the mistake because in the Catholic religious system, there is a hierarchy. And so the higher up you are, the closer you are to God. Well, we don't believe that. And we're not, we're religion to begin with, and we're not.
No, we're not a religion. We're not a cult. We offer no path to salvation. We are a secular group of men, and honestly, the best way to describe it is the Good Samaritan story. Like
Absolutely.
the Good Samaritan Club, Good Samaritan story. Guess what? Dennis may believe, wherever Dennis is, Dennis may believe in a completely different God than I believe in. He may have a completely different belief structure. If I'm driving behind Dennis and I see that he's pulled over on the side of the road and he has a square and compass, I am obligated to stop at that side of the road and say, Dennis, brother, what's going on? Can I help you out in any way? And I will. But we might not agree on anything else in life. Our politics may be completely different. I mean, but the brotherhood makes us support each other. And that's what we're all about. Hey, do any of you guys know what the tassel represents on the fez and what the feds represent when it's turned inside out? I don't know this question. I'm pretty sure Samuel Mack is going to answer this question. But do you know, Dennis?
I don't know. I'm not a Shriner. I'm not Shriner or Grotto, so I have no idea.
I've never heard of that question. Justin, do you know?
I don't know.
Well, I'm just going to say this, Samuel Mack. We don't know. You stumped us. But go ahead and give us your Albert Pike Google references, and we'll help you out with them. Definitely a trollish question there. So, yo, Northside. What's up, bro? All my TikTok friends are coming in. And I know who Jesse Jones is. Jesse Jones is Hummingbird. Worship is honorable title. Yep. No, but I mean, that's a big deal. Whenever you bring a guest into a lodge, and, you know, for us, our kind of congregating area is right there in the front of our lodge, right? Of our lodge room. And so when we come in with our families and guests and everything, you walk in and the first person you see is your worshipful master. It can kind of be a little unnerving as a new guy to be like, hey, this is our worshipful master Bob here. Well, hi, Bob. You know, you look like a normal guy. Why the hell are they calling you worshipful master? So it feels a little weird as a new guy coming in. And I can understand where that question kind of, or that term really pushes people off. But at the same time, we have to be mindful in answering those types of questions, the types of questions that we can about the fraternity, and it'll set everybody at ease. I am bro little. Carl, I know who you are. Samuel Mack, that's not Albert Pike? Oh, dadgum. It's a Moorish science. It's older than Freemasonry. That's where the science comes from. I mean, modern Freemasonry, 1717. A little bit of speculative and operative from way back further than that. I don't know. If you're talking about speculative Freemasonry, we've pretty much been around since people decided to start building buildings, or on operative Freemasonry. So I don't know.
What was the question again?
Samuel Mack, I guess he was talking about the Fez stuff, and I told him to give us his Albert Pike reference, and he said it's not Albert Pike, it's Moorish science. It's older than the Freemasonry. That's where science comes from.
Well, that's certainly possible. That's certainly possible, because the things that we talk about are the ancient mysteries, and whether it's old religion or whether it's astronomy, whether it's science, everything comes from somewhere. We didn't just make up all this stuff. I mean, granted, we do have some patents with some of the Scottish Rite hospitals and stuff. They've designed some stuff, but that kind of stuff, no, we got it from somewhere. So it's possible. Who knows?
615 got down. What's happening, brother? I don't know who you are, but he asked, have you guys ever been to an unfriendly lodge? If you don't know Dennis Yates, he likes to make people mad. So, Dennis, have you ever been to an unfriendly lodge?
I've been to several. I've been in lodges where I walk in and they're smiling, and I walk out and they're frowning. But really, every lodge has its own dynamic, and it's really up to the guest to go in and try to be a part of that dynamic and not go in blazing and trying to be a show off in their own right. Whenever I travel around and give my presentations and stuff, I still dress the same. I always have my bow tie on and like that,
Right.
and I'm always going to be me. That's just it.
Right.
I'm me. But when I go in, I'm also I take extra care in being extra polite and extra courteous to their customs and the way they do things, because lodges are every one of us have our own kind of way that we do things. It's going to be different up in West Texas and over in Hillsboro and definitely down in Goliad. We're a little bitty rural lodge. It's definitely different, but I can tell you there's not anybody I trust more in my world than my brothers. That's the one thing for sure.
I would agree with that completely. I do a lot of traveling here in the West Texas area. We have a West Texas Travelers Facebook group that I started up last year. This month, it's a year old this month. Started that page up last year just because I wanted to travel to some older lodges. I heard that there were some lodges that were closing down, like the Plainview Lodge and possibly Tulia and all these other lodges. I wanted to experience those historic lodges before they went away. And so started this group up. It was supposed to be for my lodge only, and then started talking to other brothers from Daylight, Lubbock Lodge, and Yellow House, and they're like, "Hey, this really needs to be a full Masonic community. Can I go?" And I was like, "Well, as long as you're Master Mason, because I'm not going to ask the worshipful master like, hey, we're going to bring 20 guys, and can you be sure to open an EA? That's not my job. So I'll bring all the Master Masons, but I will give the courtesy of asking, hey, what kind of lodge are you opening up this month? What are you planning? And if they say an EA or Fellcraft, we'll tell all our students and say, if you want to get on the road and get traveling with us, we'll take you to lodge with us. It's awesome because we work on proficiency. We talk about Masonic issues. We talk about things going on in each of our lodges. I might be stuck in a truck with 4 guys from 4 other lodges, but we have that opportunity to talk about common issues, common problems, and things that we're seeing happening in our lives. And it's just fantastic. There's more masonry that happens in the truck than what happens in the lodge. And so I love that. I love hitting the road and going. But yeah, you're right. Every lodge is a little bit different in what they do. A little bit different. And you got to come in and you got to be respectful. And one thing that I like to do when I set up these visits, I will actually call the secretary or worshipful master, usually whoever answers the phone first. And then I got this Facebook group called West Texas Travelers. And then what's always funny, I can tell who's who, because they'll be like, well, I don't get on Facebook. My granddog does that. But they'll get on and we'll talk about it for a little bit. And I'm like, hey. Bring up an extra pie or something, dessert. Do you need us to pick anything up for yourself? Do we need to pick anything up for your wife? Do we need to bring you anything? So we try and be, provide some sort of service to them as well, an appreciation for having us. And I mean it. If there's ever a brother who's like, I'm ready to get out to the culture, all right, I'll buy you $200 worth of groceries. Why not? If you order it on the app, I'll go pick it up and bring it to you.
Okay.
So it's just trying to be a good brother and get out there and help guys out.
So,
but I've had a really, really good experience with it. I've never experienced too many lodges that are too mean or don't really like us very much. But it is kind of funny when you go in and you have that super secret treasurer and they get up and give the treasury report and he's all like, Bill's paying for
I haven't encountered any hostile lodges, and I've walked into a lot of lodges just unannounced, just going visiting. Right, I have encountered unfriendly or hostile Masons. Almost had a guy try to fight me in a lodge one time. But there was one time, so if you follow me, if you know me on Facebook, like I take pictures of all the lodges I go to. And by the way, if the listeners, if you're still noticing an echo, please let me know. I'm hoping I fixed it. It's a trial and error kind of thing. But anyway, so I'm always taking pictures of the lodge. And I go up to this lodge that I'm about to go into, and I'm not really wearing anything Masonic, right? But I'm dressed nice. I'm dressed nicer than most people downtown. And so I'm standing across the corner, and I'm taking some pictures. Dang it! Let me try. Okay. If there's audio problems now, let me know. I made another change. If this doesn't fix it, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we do. Audio went out.
Okay. We gotta wait 7 seconds from me saying this to see if everything's good. So I'm gonna say 1, Dennis, you say 2, Justin, you say 3. 1.
3.
I went on that whole rant and there was no fluff coming out. Oh man, technology.
I know, man. I mean, it's something on my end, and I can't figure out what it is, and it's just driving me crazy.
What's up? I don't know. We're gonna get some good content out of this. We will post something.
Yeah,
It's just gonna be a lot of editing from Justin.
Oh, I'm
thankful I'm not.
It is. It is what it is.
He's the editor in chief.
Okay.
Makes me look good every weekend.
Are y'all hearing anything now?
Top right is not working, and the bottom as well.
Okay.
On my video, I'm top right.
Okay. Okay. Let me do one more thing.
On my video, I'm left. Oh,
Elephant power.
yes.
The other two are too quiet.
All right. What about now?
Does that sound muffled now? My life. Is that better? Is there anything else?
Sound bad to me.
I know this is like the clearest that my audio interface has ever sounded when streaming, but I'm just taking the audio. Guys, I'm not going to the extra YouTube stuff.
Yeah, it's all this YouTube stuff. Well, it's not even the YouTube stuff. OBS really is.
Oh, okay. So Cole said with unmute, we can hear you, but when you're unmuted, they're quiet. I bet your headphone is doing an automatic caper buck. Depending on what audio interface you're using. What do you use? InFocus?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't use any. I don't. I don't use anything like that.
Real tech.
Real tech.
Yeah. Yeah. Real tech.
Maybe you guys didn't like spend like $1,000 on audio stuff to get this going. I'm the only nerd
We
who
don't
does
have
that.
that fancy. Yeah, we don't have the fancy microphone.
Okay.
Or my
You're hearing me now.
If it wasn't so hard to move that camera, I got at least $2,000 guitars sitting over there.
All right.
But I don't know how to play them. I don't know how to play them, but I got a whole bunch. A little Gibson, custom Les Paul. What year?
That was Zilanka.
Zilanka.
That's actually a 2019, but it's her name
Cool.
is Zilanka.
That's cool.
She's my green goddess.
Yeah,
my
my
favorite
wife
one.
bought me. She bought me a custom shop Les Paul for I think it was our
Nice.
second Valentine's Day gift, and
Wow.
but it was funny because she
I'm
asked
gonna
me.
go in
She
there
was
and slap my wife right now.
well. She asked me. She said, "Hey, I found this
No,
guitar
I'm not,
on
Justin.
eBay."
Take that off.
Okay.
She goes, "I found this guitar on eBay. Is Gibson a good brand?"
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh.
"Yeah, Gibson's a real good brand." And she's like, "Well, this auction's about to close and it's only like $200. Can I buy it?" And I was like, "I don't care. Buy it. I don't care if it's fake or not. We'll find out when it comes in." It comes in and it's like a natural body studio custom, like complete
Oh
custom
my
shop,
gosh.
pearl inlays and the P90 pickups on it. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, we can
That's
sell
a
this and make some money.
$2,500 guitar easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, good
Nice,
job, babe.
nice.
Good job. And then she loses it with me because she's like, "Hey, I'm about to buy you a Squire Strat," and I was like,
Oh
don't.
my god.
I don't need a Squire Strat. Please don't.
Okay.
Please don't.
Hopefully everyone can hear us better. I don't know that we did I was kind of hoping that the audio would be better for this, but I think it just is what it is at this phase.
Hey, we're gonna do it. It's
We'll
fine.
get to it.
Guys, this is our first time together. Please forgive us. Okay, please forgive us. We're gonna try and do something. I promise you that. We've been looking forward to this for a long time. I'm crackling now.
Yes.
Okay.
And
there's gonna be more as well. We're gonna do this again. We've got other ways to get this done in the future,
and really what's
but like I said at the beginning, if you want better audio from us, all you have to do is give $2 to our patrons thing, and we'll
Hold on. I got you, Dennis. In the arms of an angel. For 38 cents a day, you can support Masonic Improvement Podcast technology.
That is awesome.
You'll be providing the XLRs they need to plug into their microphones, the audio interfaces,
Yes,
and the monthly subscription of $19.95 of a real streamable webcast service.
38 cents a day.
And don't wait.
It's a day.
We'll send you a free T-shirt that says "Shut up, past master."
Absolutely. If we were to get like a ton of donations, I would. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. If we were to get a ton of donations, man, I will make some "Shut Up, Past Master" T-shirts. So if you guys want them, y'all just make it happen.
Oh,
yeah. I'll make some. Yes, absolutely.
So 38 cents a day.
Hey, can I ask you a question, Dennis? I gotta ask you a question.
Yeah.
And this is not to start any fires or ruffle any feathers. What did you think of the senior warden who got up to speak at Grand Lodge? Because I felt every past master around me do this.
Yeah.
They were not happy about that. And I'm the idiot who goes into Grand Lodge and is like, "Hi, my name's Zach. I'm junior steward at my lodge." And they're just like, "How can I help you?"
Right. Well, actually, I'm a little bit different than most people. I'm down to hear what any Master Mason has to say, even though when it comes to Grand Lodge, only the past masters are the actual members of Grand Lodge. But I believe that it's all of the Master Masons that support our fraternity, and so everybody should be able to have some kind of a voice. And a senior warden, he actually, if the master of the lodge and the designated representative of the lodge cannot be present to Grand Lodge, he has the votes, and if he has the votes, then he has a say. So.
That is true.
I'm down.
Well, I thought the senior warden was considered
that's
a
all
member
it
of
boils
Grand Lodge
down
anyway.
to.
Once you became a warden.
I
don't think so. I think it's past masters only.
Past masters are, because they're the only ones that have their own vote.
Yeah,
Senior warden only has a vote if the master or the representative who is a past master is not there, and then the senior gets a vote. I don't think he is a member.
It was almost as bad as somebody cooking a dead rat on the first day of Grand Lodge.
Something like that.
Right?
You know what's funny? Funny about the first day of Grand Lodge? I got there early, and I had a mental list of people that I wanted to meet while I was there, right? And Fluff was at the top of that list, and literally, I walk in the door. He's standing right there. He's the first person I talked to when I got there.
I know, he was right at the door. He was the greeter for Grand Lodge.
No,
I
wasn't.
Right there when I walked in.
I was just trying to
he
get
was
in.
right there
guys.
when I walked in. Yeah.
I was like a scared kid going to Sixth World with a crazy uncle. That's what I was like, because this was my first Grand Lodge. So I was going with Sutliff. I've never been to Grand Lodge before. Don't know anything about Waco. This is like only the first real time I've ever been to Waco, Texas. And so I'm just trying to get my bearing and figure out what's going on. And I'm walking in and it's like, hey, Fluff, hey, Fluff, hey, Fluff, hey, Fluff. And I'm like,
exactly.
I don't know what to do. And I look and like all the guys that I came with are gone. And I'm like, I got to go. So yeah, I came in the front door. There's Justin. And he's like, hey, Fluff. And then I go downstairs and there's Dennis. And he's like, Fluff. Oh Lord. We're never going to make it upstairs.
And you know, that's the beauty of Grand Lodge, and you go in and you get to see all the brothers from all around and from other states as well. Mm-hmm. And you get to connect with them and hang out and have a good time. That's why I keep going back. Like, yeah, I went, I think my first year was senior warden, and I had the vote because of the reasons we said earlier. And ever since, I've been going back. I've gone back to Grand Lodge now for 5 years straight, and yeah, you know, we count down to when we're able to book our hotel, because we know we're going to go next year, and we know it's going to be the year after. You know, well, we've actually looked at houses over there.
Really, I'm definitely going to continue to go back because I enjoyed it that much. But I think it's important for every Master Mason to experience it from start to finish, at least one time in their Masonic career. You got to see the pomp and circumstance. You got to experience the way votes are happening, because my whole attitude and perception towards Grand Lodge has changed as a Master Mason since seeing, you know, how the votes actually go through, how the resolutions are actually presented, and who all has a say in them. But I will tell you this, next year if I go, I'm going to spend more time in the museums than I am in the auditorium, because I don't have a vote, so it doesn't matter. And then that's what I do. I may not show up for all the pomp and circumstance, because I don't have to hear everybody say, hello, I'm from this, hello, I'm from that. I get it. You're there. Thanks for coming. Let's get on with the show. But it is important to recognize those people. But, you know, I want to hit more time in the museum. I want to hit more time hanging out with brothers, talking with brothers, because that's the thing. That's the biggest thing. You're right. You get to make those connections and meet with those guys. But this is what I love. On TikTok and social media, I'm generally talking to people who are very, very passionate about the craft and want to do better in Freemasonry, right? From all over the world. Texas Grand Lodge is the only time that I can go in and guarantee you I'm going to be surrounded by Texas Masons who are also as passionate about the craft as I am.
Yeah. Yes.
And you can grow so much from that.
Yes. That is such a great thing to say. That is exactly the epitome of what Grand Lodge is that exact thing.
So Fluff, you experienced something that I had experienced to an extent before, but I hadn't really done so many consistent videos back to back as I did before coming up to Grand Lodge. And Dennis knew all this, right? And so I was telling Dennis, I was like, man, I gotta be honest with you. You're gonna be probably meeting a lot of people at Grand Lodge. And Dennis is like, well, duh, it's Grand Lodge. I was like, no, man, people are out there now. People are gonna come up to you and they'll say things. And I had that to an extent, right? But man, I was meeting. I had people coming up to me at the gala or whatever it's called, introducing themselves, talking about the podcast. And Dennis was with me for what I wanted to tell you. It was someone said something to me that really drove home really what we're doing here. We were at the backyard for that event.
I missed it. I wanted to go.
I almost didn't go, but I'm glad I did, because there's like a lot of people coming up and talking to us. And one guy said, hey, man, I just want you all to know, we had a fellow craft at our lodge that he started watching. He started watching your videos, and he came back to our lodge because of that. And I was like, damn, that's what it's about. That's exactly
who knew
why I'm doing all this.
Well, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you guys. This is not to pat myself on the back or saying that I'm doing a good thing. When was it? Yesterday was Friday. Thursday, I had a terrible day on TikTok. TikTok would not post any of my content. Everything was under review. I went on live. And I sat in my room for 10 minutes. Nobody came in my room. Okay. And I thought I was getting banned again. And let me tell you something. There's only so many times you can get banned on TikTok before you're just like, screw it. You know, you get to that certain threshold and it's just like, why do I keep doing this? So I wasn't getting any messages, nothing. Well, one of my friends told me, hey, delete the app and reinstall it. And so I did that 3 times on Friday. And my TikTok finally started working again. And I got all these messages. And so on Friday, I counted 6 messages from guys saying, hey, Fluff, guess what? I got initiated this week. I was initiated yesterday. I was initiated Wednesday.
Awesome.
And then not only that, but I started getting these other messages. And I pay attention to these messages, guys. If you watch my channel and you send me a message, I do my best to pay attention to them. So I get on my phone all day, every day. I have 99 plus notifications on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, no matter what. But I pay attention as much as I can. And I started noticing that I'm getting a lot of guys that are like, hey, Fluff, I've contacted my secretary and I'm trying to get reinstated in Lodge. You made me see that not all Masons are bad. Not all lodges are bad. Yeah, I go to a rural lodge, but I think I might be able to have the energy and drive to get behind this and start helping my lodge out again. And that's really big to me.
Yes.
That's really big.
Yes.
Going through the degrees. Now, in Texas, it's really hard. In some of the other jurisdictions, it's not. But going through the 3 degrees, the 3 main degrees, and trying to get this going, it should be hard. We shouldn't make it any easier. You need to have that energy. You need to have that passion. You need to have the want to complete it. But when you get to that place and then, let's say you are sitting in a lodge with a whole bunch of grumpy past grandmasters, who don't want any change, don't want any movement forward. That can be very demoralizing. At some point, you're just going to have to say, screw it, I'm going to do it, and I'll ask for forgiveness later. And, you definitely don't want to go against Grand Lodge or, anything district-wide or anything like that. But sometimes you have to get out there and just push and say, I want to try. I'm doing this on my own. And every now and then, you'll get a hit. Now, I'm lucky. I went to my lodge first, and everybody in my lodge was like, yeah, do some social media stuff. Get on there, do it. Can we help you in any way? So I was blessed in that. But I know I have some brothers right now, especially in Michigan. The Michigan jurisdiction is very, very strange to me. They do some things that are a little bit weirder than other jurisdictions, especially with social media. But I'm like, all right, so you're telling me that if you did a page and you stayed within due bounds on everything and you ended up getting 3 or 4 petitioners in your district that year, that your Grand Lodge would be mad at you? I don't know. That's a decision you're going to have to make on your own. But
yes,
if you love the fraternity and you want to do good for the fraternity, you're going to have to do something. And you can't just be stagnant and be mad at grumpy old men.
Nothing gets better.
Well, I've told people.
And if you stand on the sideline and wait for things to get better, you might not have a lodge by the time things are actually coming around.
Yeah.
Can I talk now, Justin?
No.
It seems like taking a full conversit's me. I just don't know what it is with you tonight.
A little buzzing sound.
It's a right worshipful hum.
That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna have to pull rank if you keep over talking me. I'm just telling.
Is that why you came in here flexing your DGM garb?
That's right. No, absolutely. Actually, I am so proud of this. Right Worshipful Billings has done such a great job this year.
Right Worshipful Billings?
Wow.
Most Worshipful Billings.
Dennis,
then low-level Mason had to correct you?
If you don't get fired from this, we can't do any more live streams. You're going to get fired.
I know. He's going to fire me. But I've called him Right Worshipful for so long. It's kind of weird calling him Most Worshipful. But in fact, just not saying, Brad, it's weird. But anyways, he's done such a great job and he put so much thought into so many different details. Like, these vests, they're cool vests. I'll have it for the rest of my life. I'll always be able to wear it knowing that I was Right Worshipful for Billings. And when I go places, people will know that, especially anybody who is a Right Worshipful. They'll know anywhere I go. And I have this vest on, they're gonna know, he was part of that team. So that's kind of cool. I mean, so I'm very
jealous
proud
of your
him.
T-shirt,
and he's doing an excellent job.
Yeah. So I'm not a jealous guy or anything, right? But I also haven't been district deputy grandmaster before. The reason I'm saying that is because you guys have like this really nice vest, a very nice tie. Like even like you were saying, like you can wear that to non-Masonic events and
You're
not
right.
stand out, right?
And you're gonna have to go back to Drury.
No, man, I'd even be happy with black, but it's kind of a roll of the dice. Like there was one year, I'm not going to name grandmasters, and it may have been very recently, but it looked like someone ate a whole lot of Masonic symbols and just vomited it on like a yellow background. And that was I feel bad for those district deputies having to wear that. And you're just kind of at the whim of whoever's grandmaster that year.
But I'm gonna
tell you guys a secret. Y'all want to know a Masonic secret?
Those are the best kind of secrets.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing that like really blew my mind about Grand Lodge is when we got back home, people were already declaring themselves for certain positions in Grand Lodge next year. And I was like, guys, let me at least finish my coffee this morning before we start going through this stuff, right? But I'm just gonna let you guys know for the first time, right? In let's see, 2054, I'm making myself available for the Grand South.
I got bad news, man.
Okay.
Same year I was gonna do it.
Okay, I'll do 2055 because I don't want to step on your toes. 2055, I'm going to make myself available for Grand South. And when I get to Grand East, we're going bolos.
Oh, my God.
I love the bolos.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm nauseous. I'm sick to my stomach.
I got to tell you. I got to tell you, though, Justin, just so that you know, you may be jealous that we've got all the fabulous attire and all that, and it's fabulous.
You look fabulous, Dennis.
When it's your time, thank you. I feel fabulous.
I mean, from the shoulders up, you stand out, but your dress looks really nice.
and if you don't know who I am, check this out. See there? I've got a fabulous.
No one here wants to see
I've
that.
got a fabulous.
This is why
I can wear blue jeans again, and I'm wearing my belt that says.
You just lost 10 viewers when you did that.
Who I am.
We just got kicked off TikTok Live. You're banned.
Exactly, banned. You want me to dance next time?
Wow.
No.
I'll do the thing. No, but whoever you serve under, it's going to be such an honor. You're going to be so happy and proud of, because it's not.
Oh, I might not ever serve under anybody.
Yes, you will. Shut up.
But yeah.
When it's your time, you're going to be happy, no matter what weird color it is or what have you. And face it, weird is all that's left. I mean, how many difference of tie colors can you have? But no matter what, you're going to be excited and you're going to be very proud of whoever you're serving.
So we got a comment. Matt said, well, his video was very fuzzy, so it didn't show. Matt, you're very fortunate. Fortunately, you didn't see it.
No, it looked terrible from here.
Yeah.
It looked terrible from here.
Yeah.
We just saw Dennis's butt. I feel awkward as a man.
Nope.
It definitely wasn't in due and ancient form. And I just feel really
No, it was
weird.
definitely an ancient form.
Oh, it was ancient. It was an ancient saggy butt.
Most butts kind of go out. There's like a hump. He's got innies. Like his butt cheeks go in. He looks like a frog that put a pair of pants on. You didn't miss anything.
There's somebody on YouTube playing SWAT right now and calling the police, telling them that Yates got his butt stolen. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, shit.
Dennis can't turn into a chicken. Not anymore.
Oh, that's too much. That's awesome. Oh, God, I can't breathe. Can't breathe. Give me a brown bag.
Okay.
We'd love to, but can you wear them as pants?
So
Awesome.
I'm not trying to wrap it up or anything because I haven't heard any other audio complaints, so I think maybe the audio's working out or people just got over it.
I'm just getting started.
But
I didn't have any Whataburger tonight, Matt Chrysler. I didn't have any Whataburger tonight. A man cannot live on Whataburger alone in Lubbock, Texas. There's other food groups called Mexican food, and then you have steak night, and then you have Whataburger. All right, that's the three main
Yes.
groups. And we're blessed to have some really great sushi places. So we throw down some Japanese and some sushi, just so the kids can experience other cultures. But that's it. That's all we got.
Whataburger ever started doing?
Our culture comes.
Y'all go ahead. I got a
Culture
child
comes
here.
from HEB. Come on, that's okay. Put them on.
I'm not scared.
Me neither. Me neither. My daughter speaks more intelligently than I do. And actually, more people know her in Grand Lodge than they know me. That's the truth. That's a true
Which
story.
is probably a pretty good deal.
That is.
I
gain
mean,
a lot of popularity through her.
So at Grand Lodge, whenever you were sitting in the DDGM side, you didn't get to see the thing that made me cry. I was sitting on the front row, right? I was
Right.
trying to be a jerk to Sutliff, but we were sitting on the front row, and so it's whenever Brad's kid came by with the hat, carrying the hat to him in the east, and I,
Oh my
oh,
gosh.
I teared up.
Yes.
I was like,
You know,
this.
I know. I know. I was feeling the same way. He got it right, man. I tell you, this Grandmaster is one of the coolest Grandmasters we've had in a long time, and I like a lot of the Grandmasters. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Brad is really next level. He pulls some of the coolest, hallmark moments, man. He knows how to capture the hallmark moments. He's good at it.
Well, we had spent like 3 hours with him at Cricket's Grill on Wednesday night, right?
Oh, okay.
And he was sitting there kind of talking, or not Cricket's Grill, Cricket's Bar. We drank beer. It was a fantastic night.
Yes.
But we were talking about some of the things. He's like, "Hey, Fluff, you gonna go on TikTok Live during Grand Lodge?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll go on live with you." And so I'm like stoked up about it, and I'm ready to go live. And he told me when to come up there, when to go live, all that sort of stuff, and told me he would give me about a minute and a half to talk with him. And I said, "Man, that is fantastic. Thank you so much." Well, here's the deal. I saw the kid dragging the hat. Got to my heart. I couldn't do it. And then Brad gets up there in the Grand East, and he's talking about, "Hey, I'm part of 9 lodges. Will all my brothers from all the lodges who support me stand up?" And like half of Grand Lodge stands up. And then he's like, "If you're my family, will you stand up?" And half of them stand up. And it's just like this moment that is so beautiful and so great. And I was like, I do not want to disgrace this moment by getting up on stage and saying, "Hey, I'm Brother Fluff. I'm proud Texas Freemason. This is Grandmaster Texas." No. I'm not doing that. So I picked my moment, and I said, "We're not doing this. We'll do it whenever I go to the Alamo," which I don't know. The Alamo could touch me so much that like I don't do it
You
then.
definitely got to do it then. Definitely.
Oh, I love the Alamo. I'm so stoked about the Alamo. Are you going to be there?
Oh yeah, I will be at every event this year. Every event. I have all but 2 weekends are already scheduled. All but 2. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
How many miles you putting on that truck of yours?
Man, 50 a year.
Wow.
Good Lord.
50 a year. Yeah.
Good Lord.
That's why whoever's planning on making themselves available up in West Texas, they might want to talk to me first before they do that.
Oh Lord. No, I mean that's honestly the hardest part from what I've talked about. Yeah, I've only been a Master Mason since 2020 of October 13th, 2020. But I've talked to some guys who have aspirations and all that. And it's like when you look at the course and everything that we got to plan, you guys in the East and Central Texas, y'all don't know us over here on West Texas, right? We don't have a name over there. We're big in our community over here, but you guys don't know us. And so like to set up that map and everything, I think somebody was telling me like just to run 1 year, which is no guarantee at all. Like the minimum you have to do is about 15 grand just for 1 year. Yeah. And that is
some of those guys have done it multiple years trying to get in there. And it's a very time-consuming process too. So that's, I think for most people, I think you almost have to be retired or have a position or be in a position where you can travel a lot anyway.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's not bad, right? Because I think that the person who is going to devote themselves to being in the Grand South, which ultimately ends up, if tradition prevails, being in the Grand East. But, you do have to have somebody who is very committed to the craft, very committed to the fraternity, who wants to represent us in the best light. So they need to have the time and availability to. But at the same time, like as a young Master Mason, I am so stoked to see Brad in that position. It's amazing to think that a person of my age could be in that position one day if I chose to be.
Absolutely.
To be a part of this. It's not just an old man's club, because we have a ton of younger Masons. Justin, you're younger. Dennis, you're a little bit younger-ish. I mean, you're definitely part of that generational. Yeah, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be rude, but you're part of that lost generation.
Here, let me do this so that my chin's not.
What's really inspiring to me is that Brad had to overcome a pretty serious handicap. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but for the longest time he was flat. And he's actually the first grandmaster that's ever been flat, and so to overcome that,
he's talking about the flat face. Have you seen that?
Yeah. The traveling
oh
flat.
My God.
Fortunately, no, I'm not getting in trouble, Dennis. No, but we all,
it's all you. I didn't.
You know what was really interesting was after he got elected to the Grand South, it was like one Facebook post on Mesas of Texas, and like, hey guys, we had a lot of fun. I don't even remember who it was, but they're like, hey guys, we had a lot of fun with the flat Brad jokes. But now that he's going through the Grand Line, we should probably be a little respectful. And that was it.
No.
That was everyone
not at all.
unanimously agreed. I wish we could agree like that on goat jokes or dues or anything else. But everybody.
I'll tell you what, I'll be like that one vote against the freaking lodge name change. I'll be that one vote against that on that. No, just because they're sitting in the Grand South does not mean we have to be any more respectful. They brought this upon themselves. Brad gets to live with flat bread. No.
So
I will be that one guy.
Talk about.
I think he's happy to.
One thing I want to talk about.
I think he's happy to. That's a good thing. He has a great sense of humor.
Can I go?
Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Sorry.
I don't want to.
Sure.
I don't want to interrupt you or anything, Dennis.
Okay, kids, Fluff's in the room.
Go ahead, nice. DI. Go ahead, DI.
No. What's funny is we're interviewing
DI, sir.
We're interviewing Most Worshipful. I had to get on the Dennis because he kept interrupting him. I was like, Dennis, come on, man.
That's the last guy you interrupt. You're your damn boss, Dennis.
I know, right?
Almost stripped him of his vest. But Zach, you were.
I know.
You watched the last video that we posted, the burning of Westgate, and it seemed like it got you really fired up, like in a positive way.
Yeah.
So clearly you have thoughts on it, right? I would like to hear those thoughts because I commented on your TikTok post. I was like, man, save it. We'll talk about it. So
I wish the interview would have been that day, honestly, because that's all we would have been talking about. But I do think it's important, and in reference so other people know what's going on, we were talking about, or I wasn't talking about, they were talking about with Donnie Yates, or not Donnie Yates,
Dave Yates.
This
is Donnie Yates right here.
Yeah, David Yates. Yeah. There we go. That's the right name.
There's only one Yates in Freemasonry.
Thank God. That's because we guard that Westgate really, really well.
Westgate.
Okay. You let one in. We learned a lesson there.
I know.
All right. But so for myself, and I'll be completely honest, I always say that if I was to be a man of the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, I probably would not have been accepted into Freemasonry because I don't think I was the type of person that they were looking for back then. And that was honestly the heyday of Texas Freemasonry was in the 50s. And then we had a little bit of revival in the 80s. But really the 50s, if you go and look around every small Texas town, a lot of the lodges were built in the 1950s or 60s. But, my personal opinion is we have to do a better job of the retention rate of going from EA to Master Mason. Because the studies and research that I've done, and y'all correct me because y'all might look into this a little bit deeper or have better connections, but I've studied and my calculation is 13% to 25% maybe of EAs actually go through the entire work and become Master Masons. And then even after that, there's a 10% drop off after starting to go to lodge. So obviously we are messing up there as lodges, as Masons, and who we allow to come into the craft. and keeping them interested in it and giving them the light needed, because that is the food of a Master Mason. It's the light, it's the knowledge, it's what we are given as Freemasons. That's what we're allowed to have. So if we're not doing that correctly, then we're failing as a lodge. And then you go into it and it's like, well, how do you explain that to a petitioner? Because I don't know about you guys. I honestly had no clue what I was going into when I petitioned a lodge. No clue at all. I knew that I was going to learn history because I straight up asked my investigator. I was like, well, I get to learn history because that's what got me interested, was the history lessons with my grandpa. Yes, Zach, you're going to learn history. Fantastic. That's what I want to know. Okay. Am I going to learn anything about the degrees? Yes, you're going to learn a lot about the degrees, but you'll learn that in due time. Okay. Fantastic. What else do we do? Well, we do a little bit of charity. What's our charity? We give money to scholarships, and we also do fantastic teeth. That's all I knew about masonry.
That was more than I knew when I was
And I just asked questions. I mean, I honestly asked a lot of questions, and that's why I'm really big on whenever I'm talking to a potential candidate or potential petitioner is say, hey, write down all the questions that you have. Take them to the first time you go to lodge. Take them to the first time you have an investigation committee. Take them whenever you go in right before your degree. I mean, guys, we go in at our own free will and accord. We're in the ante room getting prepared. What's wrong with asking a question while you're getting prepared to be made a Mason? You know, there's no bad time to ever ask questions and make sure you're getting into it for the right reasons for yourself. And so that's due on the candidate, but the candidate can only go so far in this because the candidate only knows so much light. And that's why I do my TikTok the way I do my TikTok, because I love the esoterics. And I love what you guys do when you're talking about, hey, what can we do to make lodge better? What can we do to make this better? What can we do to make that better? But to an outsider, it means nothing. So you have to feed a small trickle of light with a little worm and a hook attached to it. Once you hook them and get them in,
I think, and this is my personal belief, so take it for what it's worth, right? I think for not necessarily petitioners, but once you become an EA, the lodge owes you answers. It owes it to you. Like,
yes.
And that doesn't mean they have to give it to you. Like if you're at EA, you ask a master's degree question. No, that you're not ready for that. But that's an answer. It's just not. But this is like you get out of what you put into it kind of thing. That's not an answer. That's not an answer. That's just garbage. No. But
I hate that.
My point is, I think as EAs, even fellow crafts, even masters, really any Mason, we have this reservation about asking too many questions. That's a societal thing. Society really causes us to not want to ask a whole lot of questions. But as Masons, we should not be afraid to ask questions. And the lodge owes us questions. And if my mentor can't give me a question, and if he can't direct me to someone who does, who knows the answer, I should feel comfortable turning around and asking somebody else until either.
But I got to ask you this though. You're saying that's right for the EA, but is that not right for the petitioner as well? Let's say you go to a petitioner's house and he's asking you about masonry. How many times do we meet a month? What's the standard answer for that? How many times do we meet a month?
Usually once. That's usually the answer.
Usually once a month.
5.
But if you're a healthy, growing lodge, how many? You meet 5 times a lunch? 5 times a month?
Yes.
For what? Degree work?
One stated meeting, and then every Wednesday we have floor school, and downstairs we do we meet more than that really, because we also do our work for we teach our esoteric downstairs while we're doing floor school, but then we also go out to eat. We also go out to eat afterwards. So I consider that another meeting, because we could invite people in at that point to hang out with us while we're eating at the local at the local Mexican food restaurant. Our one of 3. We have Dairy Queen, a Mexican food place, and Whataburger.
And Fluff,
that's our 3.
Fluff, the answer,
just letting you know, you're not the only one.
To answer your question, and I think it's very good, Dennis. Like the multiple meetings, and I agree. Like multiple meetings, I think like a meet the candidate night would be beneficial to most lodges. But to answer your question directly, as far as non-members, it really depends on where they're coming from. in my opinion. Because here's the thing, and you know this as well as I do. You can sit on TikTok or on YouTube and interact with the Mason haters all day long, and you're never going to change their mind. You don't owe them an answer. Now, if you're bored, sure, go ahead.
Nope.
But you're you're just fighting a losing battle. You'll never get ahead. And as soon as you think you beat this guy, someone else is going to step in. So.
Well, no, and I'm not saying that I owe anybody like that an answer. I think this really comes down to the petitioners that I owe an answer to. If they are coming to the lodge, going to lodge dinner, and then they want to petition, a lot of times what we do with our petitioners is we do a weekly Masonic night at a cigar shop, which is hit or miss because some people either like cigars or some people don't, and we don't want to make them uncomfortable. So if they don't want to come to the cigar shop, they don't have to come to the cigar shop. But typically, Dennis, I do 2 or 3 Masonic events each week in Lubbock, and we're just blessed that we have that much going on. But we'll figure out a way to get these petitioners to meet us outside of the lodge, which I think is very important because you don't want them to come in and feel like you're ganging up on them, and unless you're investigating, you don't really need to go to their house. But I've seen so many brothers that will tell them, "Oh, well, you only have to come to lodge one time a month," and I'm sorry, that's a terrible way to build relationships. One time a month, even if you come in with that petition signed, filled, and turned in, it's not good.
Well,
that's building a terrible
there's really
there's
2 takeaways that everybody seems to get from the EA charge, and I wish they weren't there, to be frank with you. The first one is that
one of them is
that your clothes, basically your dress, doesn't matter, and that's actually not for the charge. I think that's
that's not it. No, but, I'm talking about the in the length of your.
Yeah, that's the second thing I was going to say is because basically when you say your job and your family and everything is supposed to come first before Freemasonry,
but it doesn't necessarily say your family. There's only one time in the EA degree that it says that.
Think about the charge.
No, I'm talking about the whole EA degree. There's only one time that it says Freemasonry is not supposed to interfere with your family.
Yeah.
But, and so that's why we get the lost word of no.
It's not meant to, but it doesn't mean that it won't from time to time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to happen. It's just like work. It just happens.
Here's my point though. Like we use those things as cop outs too often. Almost to the point where we don't even ask people. Like, sure, if your kid is sick and you need to be there, you need to be there. Or if you're at work, well, clearly you can't be at lodge, right? But so often we use excuses like I just got off work or I just want to. We give ourselves these excuses and we. I hate to say it because it sounds almost brash, but we really shouldn't tolerate it to an extent. We should hold one another accountable, is my point. Freemasonry is an honor group, and part of being an honor group is high standards to get in, and then you have to uphold those standards to stay in. And this shouldn't be new to say that we should hold one another accountable. That's the whole purpose of what Freemasonry really is we're trying to become better men, and we hold one another accountable, but we also support one another. And so if someone doesn't show up, we usually don't call. We don't reach out to them to find out, why is this guy not showing up or something like that, because we know he's going to have an excuse, so we just leave it at that. But we should start reaching out to each other, and holding one another accountable. And when we're teaching new Masons, we should really point out, these all are valid reasons. But if it's a valid reason every month, then you should either find another lodge that works with your schedule better, or maybe you're not sincere.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I really get bugged out. I mean, I understand that you may be an EA or you may be a Fellowcraft, and we might be opening in a Master Mason Lodge that month. Why the heck are you not coming to dinner or breakfast every month? You can still have dinner. You can still have breakfast. even if you cannot be a part of the actual business meeting of the lodge, you need to come in, you need to have breakfast, you need to have dinner. And guess what, Worshipful Masters? If you are not doing Master Mason work, you need to open up that lodge in whatever degree is the lowest degree that's showing up. And that's just my opinion.
Here's the thing.
Because
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, whenever that was the most painful thing for me as a fellow craft getting stuck in the whole COVID transition thing, is I could not go to lodge, period. I couldn't go have dinner because dinner was shut down. You know, it was shut down because we had to follow local ordinances and all that stuff. So I couldn't go to dinner. I couldn't go to lodge. I couldn't even go to the cigar shop. Cigar shop wasn't opening for public. Like, there was no Masonic function for me at that time, and I was missing my brothers. So thank God I was able to get on FaceTime and work on my fellow craft work over FaceTime and work on it with the brothers there. But everything else was just so crappy for me. And so whenever I actually got raised, and even though I got raised, we still weren't having dinners. But guess what? I could at least come and vote on an electricity bill with brothers.
When I started my Masonic journey, you could not sit in a stated meeting unless you were a master.
Yeah, that's pretty much same thing.
I was still expected to go every time. And what would happen is I would go and have my meal, and then the Tyler was a very knowledgeable brother, and he would actually sit outside the lodge during the meeting and sit with me and whoever else was going through the work, and we would round robin or whatever the whole time. Yeah. So it was time well spent.
God, that's awesome. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Why do we not put, in our lodge, it's kind of tradition that we put whoever was the past master as the brother Tyler. And, most past masters are going to be pretty knowledgeable on the work, but why don't you make sure you get somebody who's knowledgeable on the work and have the Tyler work with candidates and people who can't be in the lodge?
Unfortunately, I don't think there's a lot of past masters that can actually teach the work. Not to be disagreeable. I've seen past masters that sat the entire year in the East and still couldn't open the lodge. So they're definitely not going to teach.
Hey, that's changing this year, though.
Do y'all have a floor school in your lodges? I'm just curious.
Yeah, we do, but they've been pretty slow here lately during holiday season. But we have floor schools, and we have several brothers that can teach the work and do teach the work. So I would be willing to say at least 3 nights out of the week, if you are a working candidate or working EA or fellowcraft, you can definitely find a Freemason in Lubbock to help you. And we're not bashful. So even if you're from another lodge, you can come over and hang out with us.
That's good that they can do that.
Same thing.
My lodge is going to start doing it they're going to start doing it on Mondays. Probably on the first Monday.
You're gonna start having a floor school.
Yeah, it's going to be hosted by the district instructor. I hear good things about him. Well, the thing is,
I hear he's a handsome devil too.
Yeah. But I'm not trying to talk bad about any lodges, but there's no.
We got a question. What is a floor school?
Okay, I'll answer that since I brought it up. A floor school is where we go in on Wednesday night. We go in and we actually practice the different degrees and the opening and closing ceremonies, and we practice like receiving our district deputy grand masters. We practice all these things, especially if we have a degree coming up. We're going to practice whatever's coming up. But if we're not, then we're just going through regular stuff time after time. And so and it's called floor school because you're learning how and when to get your angles cut right, when you're supposed to move, what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to stand, how you're supposed to stand, all those different things, everything that makes a difference. If you didn't know whenever there's a graded degree, most people fail the graded degree not because of the words that they know, but because of the movements that they get wrong. Most of the lodges will get most of their points deducted from the movements that they get wrong because of the different things that they do in lodge. When I was an EA, it was a common practice to to slap your hand and scare the heck out of your entered apprentice. When now that is forbidden, strictly forbidden.
I still see
and
it.
You wouldn't know
I
that.
still see it. Drives me up a
Well,
wall.
sure you see it.
Yeah.
Sure you see it. But you wouldn't know those things if you didn't go to a floor school. Now,
Or
Well, I mean,
And
you
we-
guys just don't have really badass EAs who just don't do it.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
true.
saying.
shit.
I'm just saying. There's some of us that listen to what's happening in the
Man.
degrees.
You know, I didn't listen one single bit. I still don't listen. That's why I'm wearing my stripes so that I don't lose them.
So
Dennis got up there and he's like, "Can I just talk about it because I have too much?"
Exactly. Can you give me a microphone just in case you can't hear in the back?
45 minutes later. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's
But anyways, that's a floor school. Now, hold on, I'm not done yet. Speaking
I'll
of,
mute you, Dennis.
so you ought to. So I was gonna say something anyways because of they both got their chance to talk. And since you're asking about floor school, so when we do our floor school, we also downstairs we teach our candidates their work. So whatever degree anybody's in, we have somebody that can teach them. We have 2 district instructors in our lodge. We have 3 A certificate holders, 1 lifetime certificate holder, and then a B holder, and 2 that are going up for their C's. So in our lodge, we have that kind of word power in our lodge. We know our work, and I only mention that because of what we do. Because when the guys come in to learn their work downstairs and we're upstairs working and we're practicing, they see us coming in to practice every day. So even after they're done doing all their proficiencies and they're a master mason, they're a new master mason, they already know they're supposed to come back on Wednesday night to practice the floor school. So it kind of helps build our lodge and makes it stronger. You know, on our floor school, we have a good 20 guys that are there every Wednesday. On our stated meetings in a little rural lodge of 1,900 people, folks, 1,900 people in Goliad. And our lodge will have 30 to 40 people show up at any given stated meeting. So,
well, we traveled all the way from
the numbers
West
don't lie.
Texas to we traveled all the way from West Texas to Pine Hill 95 to do an EA degree for at the time it was Wright Worshipful Sutliff, but just he's Worshipful Master of South Plains Daylight 1443. But his brother-in-law was getting his EA degree, so he was like, "Y'all want to make a trip out of it? Sure, we'll make a trip."
Cool.
5 of us guys loaded up in a truck, headed all the way to East Texas, Pine Hill 95. Did the degree, and when we showed up to the degree, there's like, who wants parts? And I was like, well, I'm here. I'd love to have any part that nobody wants. So I was thinking junior deacon,
Right.
maybe junior warden, something cool like that. No, they wanted me as senior warden. And I was like, nah, I'll really do fine as junior warden. No, you go do senior warden. So I'm like, whatever. But, I know the work, right? I know the words.
That's what's dangerous about being
I know the words. Yeah. So I know the words, but I've never done a floor practice on senior warden. Even though I've seen them done,
Yes.
quite a few times, I've never done the floor practice. Well, I leave my station the wrong way. And I'm quickly told, hey, that was the wrong way. And then I was like, okay, sorry, messed up. I don't get why it's the wrong way. And then I come back up, and then again later on during the degree, guess what? Came off it the wrong way again. And I was like, hey, this is the wrong way again. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, when we got back in the truck, I asked, why was that the wrong way? And he explained it to me. He's like, do you not understand that if you would have gone off this other way here and done it that way, it would have been a more fluid motion and less jerkiness and everything, and it makes the candidate feel better. I'd never thought of it that way. You don't think about those little steps. So the floor, the movement about the lodge, it's very important. You can know all the dang words, but if you don't know the movement and the fluidity of the lodge, it can kind of interfere. And so, we got lucky because he's obviously a really awesome senior deacon, and the guys conferring the degrees were really awesome too. So we were able to work it out and make it go with it. But if you're a lodge that doesn't really get to put on the work that much and you don't have a degree team coming in to help you, guess what? That might just screw you up. right
Yes.
there.
Man, I was going to say that I have gone to lodges before, and granted, I'm pretty rural where I'm at. Rural? I'm in the country. Rural. I'm in the country lodges. And I hear through the grapevine, like, hey, such and such lodge is going to be putting on an EA degree or something. And so I get like 2 or 3 guys, and, hey, let's go visit this lodge and help with, check out the degree. And we get there, and it's kind of like what you described in Fluff. It's like, hey, can you guys do parts? And by the time the lodge is actually open, and you look around, and you realize if we haven't shown up, these guys wouldn't have got a degree. There wouldn't have been a degree at all, or there wouldn't have been a legitimate degree. Put it that way. And so this idea of setting a date and just crossing your fingers is scary, and it happens a lot. But I have heard of lodges, none that I've ever been to, that the degrees are communicated across the table in the dining room. Just either for that reason, or they just don't go to work, or they just don't care.
Yeah. And then, and I'll say this too. I'm not going to mention what lodge it is or anything like that, but I have been in a lodge where the worshipful master has gotten up and said, I don't care about the ritual work. That's not what Masonry is about. It's not about the ritual work. Wow. It's about, being brothers. And in my mind, I'm sitting there thinking the ritual work is the only thing. You doing the same ritual, being in the same positions that I was in during your degrees, is the only commonality that Dennis Yates and I have.
Yes.
It's the only commonality that Justin Jones and I have. We know exactly what we're talking about when we're like, hey, we were placed in this spot during our EA degree. Or, hey, this impacted us so hard on our Master Mason's degree. We're the only people who know what we're talking about there, and that is what makes us brothers. That's what we have in common. And because of that, we have stronger bonds than if we were just, oh, well, hey, I hear that you're a member of Zeta Phi Zeta, whatever, And it doesn't mean anything to me.
And to build on that, not only is that the connecting factor with us, the common experience with us that makes us closer, but that's also the common experience that ties us to our ancestors.
Oh God,
this ties us directly to our ancients. We're still carrying on traditions, that rite of passage that they began umpteen years ago today. And we're trying to do it in the most true form that we can. And if we don't care about ritual, then that true form is out the window. And then we look like a bunch of idiots trying to put on a degree.
Did the same thing happen to me that happened to George Washington during his interdependence degree?
Absolutely.
Probably. Well,
a variation,
yes and no.
A variation, but yes.
There's a variation, but we could discuss it.
Yes.
And we could find what was in common.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee you the important parts
were the same.
They happened just like they happened for George Washington.
Absolutely.
So I could, and this is crazy to think about. Hey, could you, Justin, could you walk up to Sam Houston if Sam Houston was still alive, put your hand out and shake his hand and say, "Hey, brother"?
Probably not. I would. Here's the thing.
I could.
I don't think
I could.
I could in a minute. I could in a minute.
Here's why I say that.
Here's why I say that.
I don't think they were as overt about their membership at the time.
I don't think they were, but let's say that you showed up to the same lodge that he happened to be going to.
Yeah.
Let's say that you decided to go to Hall in number 1, and you walk into Hall in number 1, and it's like, oh my God, there's Sam Houston sitting right there
out the street. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Yeah. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to bring up, and I don't want to change the subject too much, but I feel as though we owe it to the viewers. There was a question that was mentioned not long ago. It wasn't even a question, it was a statement. And I want to hear you guys' feedback on it. Let me scroll back up. I had it scrolled up, and we got off on it.
We worked so hard to kill the feedback, and now you want to bring it back up.
Yeah, exactly.
And you guys are roasting me. Anyway, I can't find it, but it was a brother, and he's like, we're a small town lodge, and the membership is low. And the thing is, that's not an unusual. Here it is. My lodge it's Matt Chrysler. My lodge has a low attendance, and we meet once a month. I hope that there's a change in the near future because it's a great thing to show the fellowship of brotherhood. And I don't want to just leave that out there, because that's something I feel as though between the three of us we have, not that he explicitly asked for it, but I feel as though we have feedback that can be beneficial, because that's not the only lodge that's like that. So I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on how you would approach fixing a lodge with an issue like that.
Dennis, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
No, you might want to go.
Because I'll tell you what, I'm gonna knock the wind out of this one, because this is something I'm very passionate about. Because
I'm gonna let you do that, because it'll take me a while too.
So my whole thing, whenever I became a Master Mason, like I said, I wanted to travel to these rural lodges that were having problems and real near possibilities will close down. One of them has closed down since I started this, and I didn't get to travel there. Traveling to these lodges has honestly made it a passion of mine to help these lodges out and to become a part of something bigger. And what I'm going to tell you this right now, the very first thing you need to do is you need to find all the lodges in your district. And it depends how your jurisdiction is set up, but in your district, and start a Facebook page for that district. Now, in Texas, we have the district communication officers, or DCOs, that will reach out and do this and give messages and all that. But guess what? Even Facebook has an algorithm, and you may or may not see it. So if you set up another page, and maybe another brother sets up another page, and start spreading that information out. Hey, I'm just going to use my area for an example. Hey, there's an interdependence degree in Levelland. Can we have any brothers from Lubbock come help us out? Hey, there's an there's a fellowcraft degree in Spur, Texas. Can any brothers come out? Matador, Texas, same thing. All of this. So you start seeing all of this Masonic work happening in your area, and guess what? It kind of lifts your spirits, because it looks like Masonry's growing. It's not just dying. You're seeing it on a wider macro level. Secondly, what you need to do, and my lodge needs to do this, I need to talk to my brothers about this, but you need to turn your freaking Facebook pages off of private. Okay? And when you go to a dang meeting, you don't need to just tag yourself at the location. You need to tag yourself at the location. Every brother who's on Facebook in there, you need to take pictures of the brethren when you're able to take pictures. You need to post it on your personal page. You need to post it on the Masonic page, and you need to make sure that all the brothers are sharing too. How in the world does your community see that that Masonry exists if they cannot get into a private page on Facebook? And I'm going to tell you this right now too. Private Masonic Facebook pages make the lodge look more secretive than it is.
A Facebook page. But I'll say this.
I'll
say this, and I'm not saying more to say. There's only one reason that I don't tag all the brothers because I know you see my post. I don't tag anybody because I just have privacy concerns. Because not everybody really wants.
Well, a lot of what I'll do on that is I'll always, and you can see it in the Al Habub post that I did today. Brethren, feel free to tag yourselves in these pictures. So the brothers that want to be tagged will be tagged, right? But the biggest thing is, I see so many people saying, well, we use our Facebook so we can have calendars. There's 19 other calendar devices. And let's just be honest here. Past Master Joe of Past Master in 1976, he's still on a flip phone. Okay? You're still going to have to call him before lodge. So don't do it for one member of your lodge. Figure out another way to do it. GroupMe, Slack, whatever, I don't care. Figure out another way to handle your calendar, but make the Facebook public. And then if you have it in your personal budget to spend $15 a month on just a little bit of Facebook advertisement, even if it's just to announce 2 days before that we're having dinner at lodge on Tuesday, show up at 6, do it. Let the community know when you're open so they know when to ask you questions about the lodge. But that's the biggest thing right there. Where are your good men at today? Most of your good men are on social media. Every good man's on social media. You know how I know? Because we're working remotely from home as often as possible now. We're not going out like we were. If we were, the movie theaters would be packed full. The music parks would be packed full, but we're not. Entertainment venues still have not picked up from COVID. So guess where people are being entertained? They're being entertained at home on social media. If you're not using social media as a tool to grow your lodge, you are failing in Masonry in the 21st century. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
Reason. Social media is free. There's no reason why you shouldn't.
Yes.
And I would also tack on, not only should you have a Facebook page, then, oh, we're all slaves to Zionists. Okay, well, thanks, man. Peace out. Bye. But anyway, something like that. I don't really care. But anyway, it's hell for review, so everyone can't see it anyway. But yeah. Anyway, but not only should you have a lodge page, but you should have a district page if you don't. And double tap that.
Yes.
But man, like, I agree. Like, if you're at the lodge for something, it doesn't matter what it is, take a picture and post it and tag it to the lodge. Tag your, if you have friends with you that you want to tag them if you feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah. Well, the district page is still good, but I'm not trying to tap myself on the back. My West Texas Travelers page is awesome. If you live within a 2-hour radius of Lubbock, Texas, that's how far we as brothers in Lubbock are willing to travel, a 2-hour radius. So guess what? If I say that I'm going to Denver City, Texas next month for the West Texas Travelers, I'm going to get people from Levelland. I'm going to get people from Seminole. I'm going to get people from Seagraves. I'm going to get people from all over Brownfield, the west side of the South Plains, that will meet us for lodge. So it goes from having 6 brothers showing up to possibly 30, 50 brothers. And I think you guys know just as much as I know how important and impactful a full lodge can be to a small rural lodge who has barely had enough members to open up, even open and close lodge for the past 6 months. When you have every seat filled, and when it's standing room only, it changes attitudes about Masonry.
Yeah. No, you didn't.
Just froze here. Did I freeze? I'm sorry.
There was a nut I had to block, so I was trying to figure out how to block them.
Oh.
I'll go next.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, if your district communication is not doing their job, you need to talk to your district deputy grandmaster. You need to talk to him and tell him your concerns. And if you don't know who that is, you're welcome to contact me. I can find him for you and get him your information. But really, you probably know who he is, and you'll see him before too long. You should see him anytime, because now's the time when we're making our first official visits. So that's the first thing. The district communications officer, guys, if any of y'all are out there that are listening, if any of y'all are communications officers, or just the guy that uses Facebook a lot and TikTok and I say it like Dr. Evil. I gotta. So anybody that, because I'm old, I say it. That's what Justin thinks. But anyways, if you're not taking advantage of the free marketing that you have available to you, you really need to reconsider what your job is and what you're supposed to be doing. Because you're supposed to be reaching the masses, and not just Masons either. So the private groups are not what you're looking for. If you want a private way, you have everybody's email address that wants you to have it, because it's in your system.
Yeah.
It's in your system. You can get it. You can send it out to people. Also, for the private Masons, we have several different ways that we reach out to people. Number one is we have a phone tree. Because we do live in a rural town, and a lot of people do have flip phones. So we have a phone tree. We also use Facebook. We also use the email. We also have a web page that is cheap. I'm working on a presentation now on how to build an internet platform for marketing for all the lodges. And it includes how to build cheap websites, basically, because they don't have to be extravagant websites. They don't have to have some grand, digital architect making your website. There's so many free options out there that it's just unbelievable. So you get a cheap domain name and you point it to this free web builder, and there you go. You got a website, and you have a calendar on there that works, and it has all the events.
Just to touch on that briefly.
No.
Masonic Improvement, the website was originally just a free WordPress site. And there's
yes.
There are definitely options. And there's no reason.
Yes.
And I want to touch on something that Dennis just said too. So yeah, no, that's all the free marketing and everything is great too. Even if you're an older man or a guy who does not like to be on Instagram, Facebook, any of the social media, I bet I know somebody in your family who does. And that's called your wife. And one thing that I'm really excited about, my wife, she could care less about OES. She doesn't care about ritual work or anything like that, right? I'm just going to be completely honest. Masonry to her, Blue Lodge Masonry, is extremely boring. But I found her calling. That is grotto and shrine ladies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now my wife is coming to events with me. Now my wife is taking pictures and tagging pictures. And guess who she's tagging pictures of herself next to? A good-looking, handsome guy wearing the square and compass, putting on his square and compass bolo, wearing his pins, his rings, all blinged out. And guess what?
Don't you get jealous?
Her friends have husbands. Oh, dude, I get so jealous. But her friends have husbands, and guess what they want to do? Well, I'm interested in hanging out with the Shriner ladies or the Grotto ladies.
Exactly.
Well, your husband has to be a Master Mason. Hey, stupid. Go get involved in a fraternity. You need more friends anyways.
Charles.
This guy got in. Why aren't you in there?
I'm just being honest with that.
Yeah, right.
One reason a lot of Facebook pages were set to private was because 15 years ago, Grand Lodge had a different view on social media and were much more strict. And that's fair.
That was 15
years ago. And I get that.
That was 15 years ago. We need to get into today's world, guys. I'm sorry. This is a different world. And I understand what you're saying, but this is a different world.
I also want to say
it can be done responsibly.
And right worshipful Smith, I'm sorry that Right Worshipful Yates is being so mean to you right now, but it's been 15 years.
I'm not being mean to you.
Yeah, Yates, jeez. But something else I want to point out along the same vein, and Fluff's already touched on it, but activity is the lifeblood of a lodge.
I can't believe Right Worshipful Smith is watching us. Man, I'm feeling pretty good now. He probably just
he's making sure I don't say anything dumb. He's my DD.
Oh,
but
I thought, I knew he was up there. We sat and had some drinks a few weekends ago, all night long. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was about to say a few.
But anyway, I want to say, activity is the lifeblood of the lodge, and if you're only meeting one day out of the month at your lodge, you're wasting a building. You're wasting so much potential, and you don't necessarily have to do things at the lodge. It can be activities outside the lodge, like going and having a dinner or something. As a group, just some kind of fraternal activity that doesn't necessarily have to be at the lodge, but is a Masonic thing. And I'm not talking about.
But we can't afford to pay our light bill or the water bill if we have to flush the toilets more than the allotted amount of times a month.
I had a list. I had a list that you just broke into, and you didn't let me finish my list. I let y'all talk, and you didn't let me finish. I'm hurt and disappointed.
You should be.
But I do agree, so I'll let you keep talking for just a minute.
I appreciate that.
Go ahead.
I definitely. Yeah, bowling nights.
Just letting you know.
That's a great point. Bowling nights.
That's awesome. Bowling nights are awesome.
Go to Top Golf with you guys.
To do that.
And then what's beautiful about these activities is you can invite your friends.
Oh, you're an elitist.
You can invite your friends. It doesn't just have to be Masons. It's an opportunity to invite other people that could potentially be interested in the fraternity.
Yes. Absolutely.
But it also
your circles.
It's also another opportunity. Take a selfie, post it to Facebook, post it to your Facebook, post it to the lodge Facebook, post it to the district page, and that's exposure. And that's free exposure.
And I wear my hat every day.
Yes.
I always have a square and compass. I rock a square and compass every single
is my go-to hat.
day.
I love it.
If you are not if you say that you love the fraternity, I get it. Some guys might not want to put themselves out there in the world as Freemasons. But if you're not willing to put on a hat every now and then and go to the grocery store, guess what? I've never been asked in the grocery store if I'm a Satanist. I have been told, hey, my grandpa was a Mason. And I've looked back at them and I said, cool, are you a Mason? No, I'm not a Mason. Well, come have dinner with us
Seth
sometime.
Spangler's here. Sorry, Seth, we were just wrapping it up, so we'll catch you next time, man.
It's time to see who's now that you called us out, Fluff. It's time to see who was more Masonic today. I was wearing this with my snazzy. Now, no one would know that that's Masonic, but this is definitely Masonic. My most proud thing. Of course, my belt buckle.
Dennis, you got to quit doing that, man.
And I got to show myself. and my boots, because it gets pretty deep around here.
I'm not rich enough to be a right worshipful yet, so I don't have the boots, okay?
So I'm and let me just show you my rings.
I had 2 rings on today.
What is that?
So who?
What is that?
Oh yeah.
You kind of pixelated. Is that a pocket watch? Yep. Nice.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't know this was a measuring contest today, David. Or Dennis. So I don't know why I keep getting your
David the other day.
Mixed up today.
The interview with y'all.
I don't know. Introducing me, he calls me David. You asked me to be on here, dude.
No, I was rocking the hat. I've been rocking a shirt all day, and then I have on a belt buckle, and I had my rings on. I don't wear my rings when I go live because I like to tap my fingers. And
so you're more Masonic than Justin.
Absolutely, 100%.
You're both. I don't always wear the hat. You're both better Masons than I am. Someone asked me why I don't have a new Mason. He asked why I don't wear a ring. I have 2 rings. They're too big.
Well, I was fat, and then I got skinny, and then I got COVID, got a little bit skinnier, and my rings just fall off, and they click on the desk, and I don't like clicking when I'm talking.
Sometimes mine looks like a prom date because I have to put tape on it so I can wear it.
I have my wedding ring is one of those.
Hey! Don't you blow off my jokes?
Oh, was that a joke?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Hey, we need more Commander stuff. I do need more Commander stuff.
I didn't know that was supposed to be funny. I'm sorry.
Oh, I only laugh at funny jokes, Dennis.
But anyway, my ring is silicone because my fingers change size on me. And so I have like this weird issue if I'm wearing a metal ring and my finger kind of swells around it. I get kind of freaked out. So I don't wear a lot of metal on my hands.
Hey, Seth, I'm definitely going to get some more commandery stuff. Like this whole corner right here, I just got this picture of the airplane. Now, I am an aviation nut, but I can't afford it. But I got the picture of the airplane behind me just to have a picture on the wall. But we're going to do everything on this. I mean, I'm going to do Grotto. I'm going to do Shriner. I'm going to do Blue Lodge, Square and Compasses. And then I definitely get some Yorkite and commandery Seth, in that as well.
When we do get a commandery at Hillsboro, I expect you to travel to Hillsboro and visit us.
I'll travel to Hillsboro and visit you.
Oh, yeah,
I'm in commandery.
You come now too.
I'm a sir.
I'm in the commandery. I've been in the commandery since 2011.
Then you all better be there.
Oh, I thought David Yates was in commandery. I didn't realize Dennis Yates was.
David is Dennis's more handsome twin brother.
Absolutely. I'm the evil twin. Y'all still did not let me finish my spill answering our brother's question.
Hey, before that, hey, Justin, what makes you want a commandery?
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, my gosh. We've got to do this again. So, with that, I'll say goodbye. No, just kidding. No.
It's good. Hey, Justin, you got about another hour?
Yeah, exactly. Got another hour. So, now one thing I wanted to say. So I guess I beat the dead horse with the electronic marketing and stuff. You know, that's just a given. That's today's world. And the reason I say the web page and the phones as well is because you have to reach all your markets, not just a couple of generations. You have several generations. Like my generation actually likes the websites. We like to go there, check out the calendar, click on the calendar, and see good information. You can't just have
Everybody likes something that they invented.
yeah.
I mean, if I invented the telephone, I'd be all about the telephone, but Alexander Graham Bell's dead.
But you have to have your communications have to be multi-layered.
They do, and they have to be frequent. Not just every other month or whenever you feel like it. It's got to be, and which let me tell you this also. Fluff was saying if you have somebody in your family that can do it. What I would say when you're looking at that guy, that person to do your marketing for your lodge, I would say that guy is your new master mason, your new millennial, because he's already using the latest technology and he's used to it.
Yeah, but don't put the whole thing on him.
No. You gotta
put the whole thing.
You gotta
on
have
him.
a committee with different age group people so that different you know how to communicate to each age group. So you have a committee of those people. But when it comes to the digital stuff, it's easy for them. They're already doing it, so it's fast and not a big deal to them.
Man,
but anyways,
if you want to get nothing done, assign it to a committee. Like I get you got to have certain committees, but
I'll agree with that, and I think that committee should be very open and say, hey, if you think you should post this, go ahead and post it. But here's the deal. You're going to get a lot of burnout because what happens to that new Master Mason? He gets thrown directly into the line, and then now he's on a committee, and then I guarantee you he's going to get a Scottish Rite, York Rite, and Shriner petition in his hand a couple of days after he's raised. I mean, you cannot burn out that new Mason. Although I understand and agree where you're going with on this. That's why I think that you have to have.
You took it too far though, because I don't believe that the Master Mason should go directly into the line. You should ask Justin. I will argue with him all day long. He thinks it's a 7-year plan, but I don't agree with that.
I agree with
I think the worst thing you can do is put him right into the line. That's the worst thing.
I got into the line about 6 months after I was raised. I got into the line about 6 months after I was raised, but I mean, you got to understand, I went through a lot of learning and growing through the coronavirus. So that's why I felt comfortable going ahead and transitioning into that. But brother, it happens every day in rural lodges.
Yes.
Every day.
Because there's nobody there, so they throw that guy in and they try to get him to do everything, and they want him to they want him to maintain the building, they want him to maintain the website, they want him to maintain, everything.
Yeah. So even that we could disagree with it all day, but it's still happening. I mean, for goodness sakes, guys, who's the idiot who decided to put the EA as a freaking secretary?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest here. Not trying to talk crap, but let's just be honest. This is how desperate our lodges are for that spark of energy, that new growth, that new health. Right. That's why our Westgate's not being guarded properly.
Because that always kind of rubbed me the wrong way too. And there's countless brothers, and some of them have even been on the show, where they're like, as soon as someone's a Master Mason, get them involved. I agree to an extent. Get them involved with what they're interested in. Ask them how they want to contribute, if they want to contribute at all. Really, it doesn't mean not show up, but I'm saying, do you want to be an active role, or do you just want to just keep coming as a member? But don't assume just because you have a millennial, all of a sudden we have access to TikTok or something like that, right? That's what it seems like. It seems like, but if you get a millennial Mason, you need to get him to start a Facebook page, and get him to start an Instagram. He might not care about any of that.
Yeah.
And he is,
and he might be the world's worst at that. Because I'm just going to tell you this, one thing that really drives me nuts when I'm on TikTok and Facebook and all that stuff, and I follow everybody who I know to be a brother, who I can figure out. If they're a brother, I'm going to follow them. Nothing pisses me off more than whenever they get on there and they make a couple of, hi, I'm a proud Freemason post, and then I get on there and, hey, now they're showing girls in bikinis, or they have sexual jokes and memes on Facebook, and, they aren't representing the light in the way that I respect and represent the light. So you have to be careful on who you involve in your lodge communications
what you're talking about,
social medias.
That specifically that goes back to the investigation process, though. And like the social media.
Well,
If you have a petitioner, if you don't look at the social media, I mean, that's people are like not reserved at all on social media. Like you can find
that's
out
the first thing. That's the first.
you
thing.
can find out real quick what a person's really like looking at the social media.
Well, I'm not trying to throw any shade here, but you know where I see it worse?
Where?
And honestly, guys, I'm a devout Christian. I have my faith in Christianity 100%.
Well, that's because you're
I believe that
forgiven.
Jesus Christ. I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. The place that I see this worse
The Baptist
is
Church.
in old boomer men
Oh yes.
who think it's funny to make a post with a naked cowgirl talking about bareback riding, and then on the next post say, "Hey, I love Jesus Christ," and then on the next post say, "I'm a proud
I don't
Freemason."
really think they understand Facebook. I don't think
No, they don't understand Facebook at all. They don't understand.
Well, I just posted it to my page.
But it's just something that just gets
it
me.
was on my page.
It's kind of
And then I whisper good counsel in their ear. I send them a private message because one thing about me that you're going to find out, and Dennis knows this, I never bash a Freemason in open light. So Dennis, I have to apologize. Okay. When you're running for political office and I message you saying, "Hey, you may not want to do this in a Masonic light because somebody's going to turn around and say you're a bad person, blah, 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 blah."
and
I was one of those
and they
guys. You
did.
know, I was one of those
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah.
But you know what? The thing about it is, I whisper softly in private.
That's the difference.
Right.
And then whenever I whisper softly in private with some of these old boomers, they get mad at me, and then they blow up the whole Facebook world and tell everybody that I'm trying to stop their freedom of speech. I don't really care what you're talking about, but my Master Mason charge tells me to respect the reputation of the fraternity.
Yes.
And so I'm doing everything I can to do that. And if that means I got to tell you to stop posting stuff that would make your granddaughter blush, stop posting stuff.
Yes.
And what's odd is
and that's
if you call them, if you give them a call, and whisper words of counsel, it won't end up on Facebook. But if you send them a message on Facebook, oh my gosh, that thing's going to be blowing up all over the place.
Oh.
And so it goes back to those generational differences. Like if you approach
a lot of times I will go ahead.
I was just gonna say.
I thought you were done with your.
No, you go ahead. I need to check on something anyway.
Oh no! Finish.
I don't remember what I was gonna say. To be honest with you now.
I didn't know you guys were Canadian. So polite. No, you first. No, you first. I'm sorry, boys. I thought we were all south of the Red River here.
You were talking about. You were talking about Facebook and if you do it on Messenger. Oh man,
he done took the headphones off.
Know.
He's ready for you.
I upset him. He wants to meet me at the flagpole. Okay, I'm going outside. I'll be back. No, just kidding.
I can handle this, guys. Hey, what's happening, guys? My name's Brother Fluff. I'm a proud Freemason.
Yeah, right. But what I was gonna say is like today I posted a message saying guarding the West Gate. Also, it means you do it on Facebook. When every once in a while you have to purge your friends and you have to look at your friends' and see what's really going on with that person and decide if you want him on your Facebook. Because it's really easy when you get a surge of people starting that want to like you all of a sudden and want to follow you or be your friend and you just so yes and I have always glanced to see who their friends were, and like when it shows up, it shows the first ones that you're in common with and all that kind of stuff. If there's no commonality, that's the first thing I do is I go and I look. If I can see two people that I really trust right off the bat, then I know, okay, I can just accept it. But today I was looking and I had some questionable people looking for friendship, and so I decided to look at the friends, and I saw the list, and I was like, oh my gosh, do these people know who they're friends with? Because I had some of those floozy type people asking to be my friend, and I look in their list, and there's like 58 people that I'm friends with that are on there, and I'm thinking, guys, did you even look and see who you were accepting their friendship? And so guarding the West Gate is also guarding your own West Gate, because people are like me are going to look at my friends' friends, they're going to look at your friends' friends, and they're going to make their judgment about our fraternity based on that. And
well, we gotta remember too, and this is the problem with social media. First off, anytime you get a like, comment, share, or request for somebody to follow you, it is an instant dopamine rush. It is scientifically proven that the more interaction you get with your social media, the more dopamine you get in your brain. So a lot of guys are just addicted to hey, somebody asked me to be their friend.
Right.
Well, at the end of the day, is it worth it? Because what's always great, and people are telling me this a lot now, especially since I have a little bit of a following on TikTok, and I'm getting a little bit of following on Instagram and Facebook. Like the last week in Facebook alone, I've had 200 friend requests, and
that's because you got a couple of old guys that are.
Well, I'll go in and I'll see some of the people that I'm adding on Facebook, and I'm a pretty conservative guy, and somebody will post something extremely liberal, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're idiots. And I'll go to my friends, I'll be like, they're idiots, and they're like, why are you following them? I don't know. They asked to follow me. Well, if they're bugging your life so much, why don't you just get rid of them? You know what? That's a good idea. So I'll just go get rid of them. Won't say anything. If they ask to come back later, hey, I may invite them back. But that's something that we forget with social media. We don't have, just because you're my friend on Facebook doesn't mean that we're going to be best friends in real life.
Right.
And really, I have some Mason friends that, again, I'm pretty conservative as well, and their posts are not always very conservative. In fact, quite the opposite. Sometimes I agree at a very fundamental level with what they're sharing, but I'll just unfollow them. I won't unfriend them. We're still friends. I just don't want to see your stuff. And if we're ever hanging out, it won't come up. We're just hanging out as friends or as brothers.
Exactly.
It just won't come up. But there's no reason. Exactly. There's no reason I should be afraid of unfollowing somebody if like you said, life is too short. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be bothered with things that bother me. Mm-hmm. But I also say, I'm talking about guarding your West Gate on Facebook. I have so many pending friend requests on Facebook, because one of the things I'll do is if someone sends me a request,
I have 200.
I'll know who they are, where they live, and what they do, regardless if it says they're a Mason or not. And so many of them,
if I can't see that,
if I can't see it, they're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And not to paint wide strokes here, but most of them are boomers. Again, talking about boomers. But you know what the thing is?
Yeah.
Because I have so many Mason friends, every day one of them has got hacked. Every day. And the problem is, so many of us will just accept anybody. If they got scoring compass on their profile, hell, Joe, let's be friends. Oh, I thought you were already my friend. I guess maybe something happened. Let me add you back again. And then I get a message, hello, friend, how are you? And it's totally not the guy, right?
Yes.
But so we kind of make ourselves susceptible to being hacked.
This guy wants you to join the Illuminati. Yeah.
I know who we're talking about.
No. I know who you think I'm talking about, but no, not him specifically. But I see it a lot. So that's another reason I'm super careful.
Yeah.
And I get friend requests all the time from people I know I'm already friends with.
Well, I feel pretty honored, because after my first message to you, what was that, a year and a half ago, pretty much? Somewhere around there. Yeah, because I was a Fellowcraft when I started listening to Masonic Improvement.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, no, you instantly messaged me back, so thank you for trusting me. I don't even think I had a square and compass in my picture.
Was it Masonic Improvement that you messaged directly, or was it me? Do you remember?
I did mention Masonic Improvement because, one form of communication is not just creeping somebody out and saying, hey, I love your show. Definitely said, hey, my name is Zach. I'm a Master Mason from McKinsey 1327, and I just listened to Masonic Improvement podcast. That's very much a standard response of mine whenever I find somebody.
Well, if you reach out like that, I'm gonna respond. But me and Dennis have talked before.
Yeah, you've seen some of the nut jobs.
Man, I once a week I get a message on Masonic Improvement. Hey, can you help me join a lodge in Ghana or Uganda or something? It's like, man,
you're right.
First of all, no, I don't know.
I've actually helped somebody.
Man, I don't
do that. Yeah.
First of all, kudos to you for doing that. But I don't know anything about any jurisdictions outside the United States. As far as
No, it gives you a wonderful opportunity to learn though. And so even though I'm pretty sure that guy was a troll, or I thought he was, even though I thought he was a troll at the time, it gave me a way to learn. Immediately went to, what is it, the Recognized Lodge book or whatever it is. And then I also looked at the UGLE website to see if there were any Grand Lodges in that area that were recognized. There were. And I was able to contact him with the lodge in his area. And guess what? He messaged me back and said, hey, it's a little bit different over here than what you described, but I'm going to try my best to petition this year.
Here's my thing. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, everybody, if you're messaging me on Facebook, you have access to Google, right? You have a search engine. You have a way of looking. Now, if you don't know really how to find out what's legit and what's not, I understand that. But and particularly like some of these countries that reach out, they associate Freemasonry with being
some of them do.
Yeah, like upper echelon. Yeah, like rich and wealthy. Because you join, like you never have to work again.
Yeah, that's the way you get in.
And that's
which in the Philippines is a completely recognized Grand Lodge of the U.S. The Philippines is, and to become an entered apprentice in the Philippines is the equivalent of $15,000 US. It also it's a 2-year process. If the worshipful master of your lodge calls you and tells you that they need their dry cleaning cleaned, you will go pick up their dry cleaning and take it to the dry cleaner.
Yes.
It is a servitude. They take the EA. You are the bearer of burden.
Yes.
So they do masonry different. I can't help that that's what they do, but we do recognize them as a Grand Lodge.
And the Prince Hall lodges, they have very high dues and they have very high initiation fees. It's I might not be able to afford to join a Prince Hall lodge. I'd have to quit all the stuff I have here to join.
That's true.
If I was,
that's just a misconception.
I don't think so.
I don't think it is. But I mean, I want to say this from most of the
brothers I've met, it's true.
Most of the Prince Hall lodges, and that's just our fault as regular Freemasons to not understand the way that the clandestine Prince Hall Masons work. Because unfortunately, I deal with that a lot on TikTok. I see many clandestine brothers. Guess what? When they're on TikTok and they're saying, hey, brother, what's up? Squared, keep it square, G, whatever they want to say, I'm going to treat them like a brother until I can otherwise find out. And whenever I find out that they're not a brother or a clandestine brother, I will message them privately. I never do it in open public. But the thing about it is, we as regular Freemasons don't know enough about the clandestine Prince Halls. We don't know enough about the clandestine lodges. Masonry International is not a real Masonic Grand Lodge, but there are people that are taking advantage of other people that have extremely high dues. They're jumping them in, hazing these guys in. And so, yeah, I get what you're saying, Justin, when somebody in another country contacts you and says, hey, I don't know how to get in a lodge. And you're like, you got this little thing called Google. If I Google Freemasons, if I Google that right now, what's going to come up? You're going to have conspiracy theorists and you're going to have clandestine lodges come up. They beat the algorithm. So it's important for us to get in and help guide them. Even if it's fake, at least point them in the right direction because you never know. Yeah. You just never know.
One thing that strikes me is though that these clandestine lodges are charging so much for dues. And we're trying to.
Oh, well, when you look at it, though, the worshipful master stays worshipful master for life. The Grand Master is Grand Master for life. It's a Ponzi scheme. We swear up and down
that if we raise our dues and our degree fees, no one will join. But you got these clandy lodges charging probably what we should be charging. They get all the money.
Yeah, that are rich.
Yeah, ripping people off.
I have been back and forth on the increasing dues. Back and forth. I look at it as I'm paying this much money for Netflix, which now in my Masonic career, I don't even use Netflix because I'm doing something Masonic every stinking night.
Yes.
So in my personal opinion, personal mind, I would have no problem paying a yearly dues of the same equivalent as my Netflix and Hulu subscriptions, right? I have no problem with that at all. In fact, I'd probably pay more. My favorite thing my wife ever told me when I got my first dues notice, right? I was just raised a master. I got my first dues notice. Zach, you owe $65 in masonry. And I thought I was in trouble. And I said, yeah, babe, that's my yearly dues. And she's like, oh, this isn't monthly? I said, no, it's not monthly. Damn, that's cheap. You know, even my wife thinks the dues are too low.
Right.
But at the same time, I see where some other brothers come at, and it's like, it's not a dues problem, it's a membership problem. If you're really getting out there and getting more members, as long as your dues aren't what, $31.95 or whatever the per capita is, as long as your dues aren't $31 a year and you have more members, you're going to be making more money in launch.
That
So
falls
there's
into the trap. And sorry to interrupt you.
I want to know about this trap because I'm on both sides of the fence. I can't make up my mind.
This is the way most lodges look at it. Instead of raising dues, we just need to get more people in. But if you're getting more people in and you're focusing on getting more people in, you're less inclined to look at the West Gate because you're looking at that bottom line with dues. And so,
you're not getting dues till they're a Master Mason, though.
I agree. But if you're
I just think that a lot of lodges use the EA degree as your true West Gate. If you come in as an EA and then you never come back to finish a single degree, you never turn in any work, then I'm sorry, guys. If you come in as an EA in Texas, at least, I don't really look at you as a Mason until Fellowcraft, and that is something that I push against 100%. When I have an EA come up to me on TikTok and say, hey, brother, I just got initiated, my first thing is, hey, brother, congratulations, brother. But in my personal opinion in Texas, until you get that Fellowcraft degree, you haven't proven to me that you're a Mason.
And I'm going to go with very extreme views, but I'm an extreme guy, right? On one side, you could do like you're saying, keep your dues super low, treat the EA degree like a filter, and just throw whatever you can at the wall and see what sticks. And hopefully you'll get enough members that you can keep your dues low, okay? The other approach is say, look, we're going to raise our dues. We have a thorough investigation process, meaning it takes time. However, these guys, if they get through, they're likely going to stick around. And which is better? And I've seen lodges with both approaches. I think I think you could be I don't want to word this without being wrong, without sounding. I think.
Just say it. You can edit it out later.
Here's the thing: you can be a member and not be a Mason. There's a lot of card carrying people out there that are just members, and just because you.
Yeah, that goes the same way for Master Mason too.
We proved that in the 50s when we were at our highest increase of Masons, and when we were at our highest point in membership. We proved that, and that's when all the buildings were built and all that, you know, and because we were the joiner society, you know that, Justin, and so, you know, you can be a member and not be a Mason, and that's what we don't want.
So I'm going to share this because this is actually, as I'm talking about it, it's kind of an epiphany for me. A lodge can say, look, we're going to make members.
I've got a new thought too.
We're going to make Masons. If you're going to focus on Masons, making Masons, then you have to be more thorough with the investigation process, which means you're going to get less members, less people joining and going through the degrees. So you got to cover that difference with your dues. If you're gonna say, look, we just want the money, we're just gonna get members and do fundraising, then and there are lodges that I've seen do that, then that's fine. But you got to understand that you're not. I'm gonna piss some people off. You're not really making as many Masons. You're making a lot of members, but you're not necessarily making a lot of Masons.
Right. So. What I've been thinking about lately, well, first and foremost, let's start at the beginning. Officer leadership training, guys, go to officer leadership training. I'll give him a second to throw his headphones on so he's not coming into something just full on. So
I'm back.
Okay, so we're still on the same topic, and Justin, you want to reiterate what you just said? So he's back in.
I didn't catch when he stepped away, but basically I said there's two approaches you have. You can make members, you can make Masons, and it's one or the other. Right. If you're going to focus on making members, you just want to get as many people as you can, keep your dues low and do fundraising. If you want Masons, which I personally think that should be the goal of most lodges, then you have to be more considerate, more thorough, and charge more.
Yes.
Right.
So here's what I had stated while you were gone as well, and that is that, we already know what Masons look like. And it happened in the 50s. That's when our biggest spike in membership was in the 50s. It was the joiner generation, and as Justin says, name your animal club. That's when they were all started, and every one of them, and as well as Freemasonry. And so that's why you see all your 1950s buildings that are plain and square and nothing special about them, because they were just throwing them up everywhere. So we already know what that looks like, and with that, there's not much substance. So what Justin is talking about is absolutely correct. We have to have more Masons, not just members, because Masons take ownership, and Masons will support what they believe in. I'm not the richest guy in the world. I know Justin's not. Mm-hmm. You're not. But I myself, I'll put my money where my mouth is. I've said it before, and if my lodge were to start to go under, I'd buy my building and make sure that building was there for my members, because that's the kind of Mason I am. I'm serious about it. And I'm going to make sure.
Well, I mean, you have a beautiful historic building too.
Yeah, but
and it's very obvious that your members take pride in that building. And I just want you to think about this too. There's some buildings in my area, right, that the members do not take pride in.
Right.
That we can't even get members to show up on a Saturday just to do a simple sweep and clean.
Yeah. And that's a shame. That's when you really need to start thinking about, joining lodges or the drill on that. But so here's what my actual point was, though, and there's a couple of things I want to go into, because I had this new thought process, and y'all are going to get to think it through with me as I put it out there for the first time. But my first thing is officer leadership training. Guys, I can't stress it enough. It's the most important thing you can do for your lodge. I was going to mention it for that guy with the struggling lodge. If you have to send your guys to officer leadership training so that they can plan ahead several years in advance and work towards that goal for when they're going to be master, because they're only going to be master 1 year. That's not the year you figure it all out. You actually plan it out ahead of time, and then by the time you're master, then you implement your plan. Go ahead.
I want to just say on that, one of the best things that ever happened for me, I'm just junior steward in my lodge, right? I've been junior steward for 7 months now, somewhere around there. About 2 months after I actually got to start sitting in that chair, wearing that jewel, sitting in the office, I asked 2 current worshipful masters from other lodges. I was like, are you guys excited for what's coming in your upcoming Masonic year? Yes, we are. This is what we have planned. This is what we got going on. Cool. Is it good for me as a junior steward to start planning out what I want to do for my time in the East when I get there? Because one thing that I took from my EA is, you don't tamper with certain stuff, right?
Right.
You don't try and look into the future like that. You just kind of go with a little bit of the flow, follow the master's work plans of the day, right? But I asked them, I said, is it a good idea to start looking ahead towards the East and getting ideas? And both of them said, absolutely. We wish we had senior wardens who would start doing that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But at the same time, they also told me, if you have a great idea that you think is going to immediately help your lodge, why do you not take it to the worshipful master right now?
Yes, I agree.
So,
that happens in the Grand Lodge as well. You were talking about guys thinking, making the joke that you're making yourself available in 2054. That happens in Grand Lodge. I know.
Be careful, Dennis.
I know.
Uh-oh, somebody's making themselves available. 2035, Dennis Yates.
It'll be sooner than that. But I know who's coming up, and they're planning on doing it because it's a planning process. You have to plan to get to that point, and then again you have the next 3 years to plan your year as Grand Master. So there's planning in every part of it. And so as someone who has run around with officer leadership training last year and will be doing it again this year, and Justin will be joining us too this year.
This is just flexing all over us tonight.
No, I'm not flexing. There's nothing to flex. I'm telling you, this is a pure labor of love, because the most passionate thing that I can contribute is my love for management and leadership of our lodges. And I think that the very best thing we can do is truly equip our managers of our lodges to be leaders, because because we're not right now. We have a lot of lessons that teach that as they go, but there's a lot of structure in between that they're not taught, especially if they don't come from, because we do have janitors come in as masters. We do have people that work in the fields. We do have people like me that work on telephone lines all day, and then go home and have to do the plumbing on a rent house. That's.
I want to add something, because I think this is important. You hit something very important.
I hadn't even finished it yet.
But it's so important. You're making such a good point. I feel as though we need to look at it.
Okay, go ahead.
See,
go ahead. Now that you flatter me.
Right?
I made a good point. Okay, you heard it, Fluff. I made a
First
good
one
point.
of the night.
Go ahead.
I didn't hear.
As we said earlier, we were talking.
Okay, our listeners heard it.
And we said that the lodge owes its members answers, right? Or we could even say even the non-members to an extent, like the petitioners. But
yes.
First and foremost, I would say the lodge owes it to its members to develop them as leaders. And because here's the thing, if you're improving yourself, if you're becoming a better man, regardless if you want to be a leader or not, it just comes with the territory. You don't necessarily have to accept a leadership role anywhere, but you as a person will become more qualified if something like that would happen. And if the lodges aren't preparing their members, if they're not making them into leaders, then that lodge is failing. And if you look historically, again, we're getting into history, we do this every episode. If you look historically, so many presidents, particularly in Texas, like all the Texas Republican Texas presidents were Masons. Most of the government, most of the members were Masons.
80% of the House were all Masons, and at that time, only 18% of the population were Masons.
And so
you have all of your presidents and vice presidents, 80% of your House, and only 15% of your population were Masons. So that tells you who the leaders were.
And that also tells me that the lodges were creating leaders. They were
yes.
They were nurturing leadership and desirable leadership traits in their members. And I think even if you don't want to be a leader when you join, I think as time goes by and you develop these traits and you see so much corruption and so many incompetent people in leadership, you feel obligated to step up.
I don't know if that's necessarily the case, though, because historically the Masonic lodges were the foundation of every rural city being built and every country city being built. These Masonic lodges would build, they'd have the lodges on the second floor, they would have the school district or a church or a bank on the first floor, right? So that was money that was being put up by these Masons who were trying to build new communities and better things. When you came into the community as a business leader, you were almost expected to be a Freemason or join the lodge. And that's one of the reasons why I don't think I would have been accepted as a Freemason. If I went into my standing as I am today, I probably would not have been accepted as a Freemason in the 1920s or 40s or 50s, right? Just because I wasn't a leader coming in. So I think that Freemasonry was a good way for leaders to connect. You know, whenever people look at the American Revolution, they're like, oh, well, the founding fathers were all Freemasons. No, they weren't. Only, 18 signers of the Constitution were Freemasons, something like that. 14 of Declaration of Independence. Only 16 presidents have been Freemasons, and one of those was just an EA. Lyndon B. Johnson did not finish his degrees. So when you look at all of those Masons there, well, okay, yeah, they had to get out. They had to campaign. Where were they campaigning? Yeah. Where good men met. Where did good men meet? Exactly. Masonic lodges, you know? So it's not that I think that Freemasonry really like nourished leadership. I think it just happened to be where leadership congregated.
I don't disagree. I'll say that, but I think it was both. Mm-hmm. I think both things happened. I think. Yeah. Freemasonry nourished the leadership, but I think you're also absolutely right. Like if you were anybody and you weren't a Mason, it kind of hindered your progress.
Ooh, Seth Spangler asked a really good question. What if the lodge doesn't want you to lead? What if they just want a body in the East and let certain individuals steer the bus, so to speak? That's actually a really good question that I've been talking about with brothers online today.
It's time to go to another lodge and let that lodge die.
Or
because that's what's
so you have no problem, Dennis. You have no problem with the death of lodges.
No, if the membership is going to make that happen, it's going to happen. One Mason can't change it. Now we can certainly try, and we can certainly be the difference. You know, I am definitely not the average Mason in my lodge, and
or in Texas.
I will not take. Yes, you're absolutely right, and I catch a lot of grief from that sometimes, and I get a lot of respect from that sometimes. You know, it goes both ways. If the thing that you have to do is remember that the lodge is not those 2 or 3 people. The lodge is not that secretary. The lodge is not that treasurer. The lodge collectively can vote them out. And if people are not willing to do that, then they're willing to let their lodge die. Yeah. So if you have other like-minded brothers, you need to discuss it and decide what's going to happen at the next election and make it happen.
Politicking?
Because the majority... Because no, it's called making a decision.
I'm calling it most forceful. You gotta be
There's no politicking involved. It happens every year. You decide if you make a decision, you make a personal decision if you're going to vote for somebody to go through or not. And if somebody's not capable of going through, then they don't need to go through.
And I got so much I want to say about this. Well, I'm going to let Dennis finish.
Say it.
He's got to wait. Because I never got to finish my last thing. Y'all keep cutting me off with all this.
Yeah, give me 20 minutes to make your point.
My head's fixing to start spinning around. So
did I not tell y'all this was going to get weird? I told y'all it would get weird.
So let me go back to dues real quick, okay? Because that's another thing that gets pushed down by 1 or 2 people in your lodge, and it's very sad. And I'm gonna jump through one thought and go straight to the thought that I was having earlier. That's a new kind of thought to this. So we all know that it's 1 or 2 of the older guys that claim that, you know, they're on a fixed income and this and that and blah 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 blah. But here's my thought. So the lodge dues have been $50 for 20 years. Those guys have been paying $50 for 20 years. And now they're at an age that they can't afford to pay more. If they had raised it back when they could afford to pay more, then it wouldn't have to raise so sharply today. The problem is that the jump that it's taking now, going from $50 a year up to $150 a year, is scaring people, and it hurts people. And sure, it hurts your pocketbook, especially in rural lodges like mine, where everybody's a plural member with every other lodge in the area because they're trying to save them. You can't save every lodge. That's not our goal. Our goal is not to save every building that we have. Our goal is to make good men better. And showing people how to live as victims in their own society is not making a good man better.
But you're missing a huge point there, Dennis.
Teaching them how
You're missing a huge point.
Okay.
Even if we decide to raise the dues at lodge, right? Let's say it's not even 150. Let's say we decide to raise it to 200, which from my research is about the national average right now. $200 a year, okay? What you're missing is, at some point, all of us Masons had stood at a particular part of the lodge in need of help. All of us have done that. All of us have been there. And you're telling me that a brother who has been a Mason for 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years is saying, hey, I'm having a hard time making this money. I don't know if I can do it. He can't go to the secretary in private and say, hey, I can't pay these dues.
Well, okay.
Can somebody please pass around a hat? And you know what I'm going to do as a younger brother? And I'm not saying that you should have to do this every stinking year. This should not be put on everybody. But if you are an active member of my lodge and you are honestly saying that you're having a hard time coming up with the money to pay for those dues, guess what? If you give me a digital option like Venmo, Cash App, whatever, I'll pay your stinking dues by the end of the night.
Right.
And you can pay me back if you want, or we'll just go on to next year.
Right. And
Zach,
hold on. Dang it.
you pointed out.
So
I'm not saying nothing.
You pointed out.
let me tell you.
Man,
Go ahead. Real
you made a
quick,
distinction. You made a distinction, Zach, and I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. But you made a distinction if you're an active member.
Yes, it has to be active member. Has to be.
I agree.
Okay, now that
How else am I going to know that you're having a hard time if you're not an active member? I'm sorry, Dennis.
you cannot expand
But how
upon
do I
his
know if you're not active?
You cannot expand upon his interruption.
I also want to say.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Okay, so here's another thought, and it goes right along with that. And that is that in my bylaws, and I guarantee it's in your bylaws and it's in Justin's bylaws, because every bylaws in Texas were written back in the day when this is common practice. But in our bylaws, it says that if you can't afford your dues, you go to the lodge. But what happens though is the lodge has the responsibility to do an audit of your finances to see if this is really necessary. If it's necessary, the lodge will pay your dues. Period.
But
Period.
nobody gets a
They
copy
will
of their
take care of
bylaws
your
anymore.
dues.
Like they're supposed to.
I have a copy of mine.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm saying most
I'm
lodges.
sorry. I'm sorry you don't.
I have a copy of
I'm sorry
mine.
you don't.
I'm saying
Well,
most
I'm
lodges
just saying
don't do
even-
that anymore.
But no,
Even you have
but
to
you're
bend the
but
rule,
you're
and you come in
absolutely
and you
right.
say, hey, I can't pay my
But
percentage.
you're absolutely right. But you know, I'm not talking about you.
Oh.
But taking all Fluff's credit. So you can have his credit, but you can't have his street credit.
Oh
buddy.
man, that's the best kind.
So exactly. So here's the thing though. If we were to raise dues to where they should be, then we could afford to do that also. It wouldn't be a burden to the lodge to help a brother like that, or to help a widow, or to help whoever we need to. The way that we should go about dues, it's not about raising dues for dues' sakes. You know, dues should be whatever the lodge needs to pay its bills. We know how much that is. We've been doing audits for years and years. Look at your audits like you're supposed to. Look at your budgets. Create a budget for your lodge. And why did you turn golden? You're the golden
I
boy
raised my
now?
hand. I would like to speak at some point.
Oh, okay. Nifty. So that's pretty neat. That doesn't stop me from talking. That's a good thing. So in all seriousness though, we should always make our dues based on what our expenses are and what our budget needs to be. And so measure that. You should and this is not crazy talk. If you budget your year, add an extra 10% for miscellaneous expenses, add another 5% for inflation every year, that's what your dues should be. So keep checking what you've been paying, and then you only raise your dues accordingly. If things are the same or cost a little less, just keep the dues the same. But if like right now, it costs so much just to live. I know it hurts us but it's a hobby, guys. If you're not willing to pay for it, then get out of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose any Masons. Don't get me wrong. I love our fraternity, and I love the brothers that I get to spend time with. They're the best moments in my life have been with my brothers, and that's no joke. Yeah. That's the best moments in my life. 6 months ago, I knew Justin pretty well, and we go to different functions together and enjoy time together. But where else can you start really getting together from across the state, and then he becomes your best friend? I mean, that's how can that happen outside of Freemasonry? So I don't want to lose our brothers, and I don't want to lose our lodges per se, but we got to figure out how to make ourselves healthy as a fraternity, so that if you can't afford the lodge, then okay, get rid of that building. It's a building. Ours is different. It's an old building, but for a lot of these buildings that were built in the 50s, man, the land is prime for picking in industrial areas and business communities. Sell it, get the good money, and build yourself something nice. There's ways to thrive.
Oh, there's a wonderful lodge in Mississippi that's been around for like 15 years now, but they meet in a bank building.
Yes.
Right? So they're a little bit nomadic. They have to bring in their charter. They have to bring in all their jewels and furniture and everything.
That's how they did it.
But they do it once a month.
Yes, that's how they did it in the old days.
It is absolutely wonderful what those brothers are doing, and they have a thriving small rural lodge. Nice. But they never worry about the overhead and things that it's going to cost them. If you're building, listen, and this really sucks because I know that there's actual Masons out there watching right now that are struggling with this right now. If your lodge has insurance and your roof gets totaled and now your insurance says, oh, we can't cover that roof because it was made in such and such year and out of such and such material and all that, guys, I'm sorry. It's time to get rid of that building. It's bringing you down. I would much rather go to a different place that you're leasing or just renting once a month and not have to look at stained ceiling tiles, have a funky smell in the kitchen, and someplace that's clean.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you need to have a clean place. Yeah.
Yeah. Rookies.
I know. That's
just in the kitchen.
We're going on 3 hours, but he has a few things he wants to say before he shuts us down. That's what he's trying to say.
This has all been a very good conversation.
Control freak.
And
for the record,
that's it. I think we should. We're going on almost 3 hours here. I have a few things that I would like to say. And I know this. So So for the record, just so everybody knows, for full transparency,
Mhm.
I don't. The reason we use Skype tonight and we didn't use Zoom is because I don't have a Zoom subscription, and the reason for that is that aside from just
It's 11
being honest
o'clock
with you,
where all of us
I
are
like
at, dude.
having no subscription because they limit you to 40 minutes.
Right?
So I do 2 sessions.
No, this is
right, and that usually gets me
this
about
is.
an hour long
But
episode.
see, this is okay. So
This is
I wanna
why.
piggyback on
This
that
is
real
why.
quick.
Because here we
I
are,
know you're-
3 hours.
because
It's
I know
11
you're
o'clock at
fixing
night
to
where I'm
wrap
at,
it up.
and we could talk for another 3 hours. So
But well, you need to.
well,
You're young.
I don't
You'll,
know,
you'll
Lubbock's
remember
kinda
you're
weird.
young. You're a district
I
instructor.
was mainly talking about the
So,
listeners, talking for the listeners. though.
Guys,
Got that 80
this
certificate
is,
working
that's
for you?
right. This is what Masonry is about. This is what Freemasonry
yeah,
is
of course
about.
you do.
Not just Masonry.
Of course he
This
does.
is what Freemasonry
I don't
is
even.
about.
I'm just
The
hoping I
reason
remember
why
everything
we're
I
able
want
to
to say.
sit here and go on, and we could probably go on another 3 hours, is because we're Freemasons. We have stuff to talk about, that different opinions. We're not all talking the same stuff. A lot of it is, but they're different ways too. But this is what Freemasonry is about. This is why we joined. This is it, man. You get to talk about and not just stuff like this. And guys, any of y'all can contact us, any 3 of us, and we know people throughout the state and sometimes throughout the country that you can get a hold to. If you feel like you're in that,
They know more. I'm just a low-level Mason. They know more.
if you feel like you're in that downward spiral, or your lodge is in that downward spiral, we can help you. So, get in touch with us. We can talk you through it. We can give you some ideas, and also get you in touch with people locally that can help you, that have been successful in turning things around and stuff like that. We know, yes, we know the people who make us look good. So, that I wanted to throw that out there, and that's not even my closing spill. So go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, we know the brother Flops and the Sis Banglers out there.
And shut us down.
Oh no. So I wanted to touch on a few things. I wanted to hit on the dues conversation briefly, and then I wanted to answer Seth's question earlier, like 45 minutes
Yes.
ago. So first of all, about the dues, like there's 2 approaches, and I think we've kind of talked about it without really focusing on the pros and cons of them. The first approach that you would think makes the most sense is you incrementally change it once every 1 or 2 years, and just bump it up a little bit. Just calculate inflation and go from there. And the other approach is wait 10 years and just bump it up a large amount, right? Or whatever. In some cases, it's like 25 years for some lodges. But here's the thing. I don't think incrementally works unless you just happen to have a lodge where you're very particular about who joins and you all have the same mindset. Because raising dues is a pain in the butt. And I'm not talking about from
I have a
an
rebuttal.
administration perspective. I'm talking about getting everybody to not want to fight and actually
He
sit
got nervous.
and
You
have
see that?
intellectual
I
conversations.
saw
and
that.
I got a
vote
rebuttal.
like you should perspective.
No, it's
Anytime
an
you try to raise the
intelligent
dues,
rebuttal,
you'll
but
see
I'm going to
brothers
write
that
it
you
down.
have never seen before come out of the woodwork, and they'll argue it every time. And well, I was trying to avoid a snarky comment, but but so I'm personally in favor. Like ideally, yeah, you do it set it however you want to. Say, look, every month we're going to revisit dues, and just accept that. And if you can get away with it,
Well,
I
the
agree
way
with it,
the
it's
way that
best.
we did it, or our grotto
But
that we just chaptered,
I think
or
the
chartered,
most
I'm
realistic
sorry,
approach is
we
5
have
to 10
a floating
years.
due system
Say, look,
where we put it in our
this is where we
bylaws
were,
that
this is where we need
if
to be.
if you
Just
know
bump it up. Because I
Grand
have
Lodge,
never
whatever,
been
if they
involved
say
in
that they
a
need
dues
$30
conversation with the lodge,
a member,
it has been a pleasant experience.
we need to make $35. So if right now we're at $60 and then next month or next year they're like, hey, we need $40 instead of $30. Okay, we're gonna bump it up $10 automatically. It just goes with whatever per capita is set. And I think that's a pretty good idea because it'll allow your lodge to set a certain amount of money that they need in order to do business as normal. But there may come a time that it's like, hey guys, we need more than the $30 that we're asking for. We actually need $50 because inflation with electricity and whatever has hit us. We need to do a better job at figuring that out. But there's different tips and tricks.
Here's
That's true.
the thing. Here's the thing. Once you get and it does happen, there is a phenomenon that happens I think it's every 7 years or something. You'll get all the right people in the line
that goes back
so that you can have
that goes back to having everybody on board with it.
Do something
and
like
I agree.
But once you have the perfect storm of people in your lodge that are agreeable that a change needs to be made to support your lodge, then that's the time you do it. And here's what I propose. Yes, it is an incremental, but what it is it's a guaranteed incremental of a certain percentage. Figure out, so go back through the last 50 years and see what the inflation's been over the last 50 years. Divide that by 50, and that's what the percentage is each year. Go back and say, in the bylaws, if you put it in the bylaws one time, and that's all it takes is the supermajority vote to change your bylaws and then send it to Grand Lodge. But you change it in your bylaws that every year it's going to increase by this percentage every year, no matter what, then that's what it is. And there is no more discussion. You don't have to discuss it unless it's not supporting your lodge. So absolutely you can.
Or
that's where it is.
For Masonic funerals. I mean, you can just always wait for Masonic funerals.
And buy the guy an endowed membership right before.
Right, exactly.
I didn't think you could actually put that in your bylaws.
Yeah.
Oh no, I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not endowed yet, but I'm looking to get endowed. And my endowment, the way I look at it, is it's just insurance for myself. If something
but also,
happens,
I'll
I
also
have an
say
endowment.
this before
But I'm still
from the dues.
like,
if you're going to raise your dues,
I hate talking about this stuff. If I'm going by the mill kitty and it looks a little low, guess what? I'm putting $100 in.
But
you know what I mean? I'm always trying to help out my lodge in some way. And the thing is about my personal lifestyle is I budget every penny I spend, even on vices.
Yes.
I budget every penny I spend. I've gone to lodge, and a brother has come up and said that they needed help.
They're super.
That they, they're super, right? They've been distressed. They're distressed. They're worthy. They need some help. What can I do? I've always given them money that was not budgeted in. Guess what, guys? It's never hurt me.
What about superfluities?
Exactly.
And
whenever I do put that extra in the kitty, I make sure, or like, in the almoners plate at Scottish Rite, we always give after every meeting. I like to be one of the first ones, and I like to make sure that it shows so that people can see how much it is. So it kind of sets the tone. And so when they go to grab $1, they end up grabbing 5 or 10.
Right. Yeah,
I don't make sure people see me do it, but I make sure that it's visible for people to see it. So that
well, it's not something that you could.
So maybe they'll get the hint.
It's not something that you can always do. It's not something that you should always do. It's not something you should brag about.
Right.
But if the opportunity arises to help your lodge when your lodge isn't expecting it, or help a brother when your brother isn't expecting it, take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah. Well, and here's another thought. Here, just real quick, Justin, I promise. I promise.
4 hours
That's what
later.
she said. So I know that was a big lie. Oh my gosh, I'm going
just edit
to hell.
that out.
I'm going to hell. Yeah, you got to edit.
So
So another thought is that when you raise the dues before
it's
you
never
raise
been
the
real
endowment,
quick, but I'll
make
permit
that
it.
like the next year's plan for the bylaws.
3 days.
Raise your dues, and then if you notice that you have those brothers that are truly put out by it, really hurt by it, then maybe that's what you do is you buy them an endowment, and that way they're set, and then say, okay, guy, we're gonna ask you to contribute what you can as you can, and
Well, what do
That's
you
a
think
tough
about
one.
this?
That's a tough one, and I wouldn't do it for all the brothers. I'm saying that guy that is 60 years old that has been a faithful member for years and years and years, and he kept that lodge going for you, so you'd have some place to go. I don't have a problem with that. If I see that,
You know,
like
the problem is, here's the
Fluff
problem.
said, if
No.
he's active and he's already proven to me that he loves masonry and that it really is a burden, then I think that's a way to help. That's a way to fix that problem with that one guy. And maybe just figure out a way to do like a 1 year every year, do some kind of a gift to somebody like that or something. If you're making the money, you can do that. And that it really is a burden, then I think that's a way to help. That's a way to fix that problem with that one guy.
Here's the thing.
Maybe just figure out a way to do like a 1 year every year, do some kind of a gift to somebody like that or something.
I think that's why you have
That's
a
a cop
benevolent
out.
spot.
That's a cop out.
I'll
right
just
there.
put it
But
that
that's
way.
the whole
100%.
thing, is
Here-
that
An
I'm not looking
individual
at losing
endowment.
money.
An
Unless
individual
your
endowment,
lodge
you
has the
will lose
endowment
money.
set
But if you have
high
many
enough
endowments in that
to
lodge,
cover
you will make
what
money
you'd be paying
eventually.
the dues.
It's
You're gonna lose money on this guy, right? As opposed to him paying dues.
you're not getting rich off of it, but you're gonna make money eventually.
We have a lot of endowments that are paying out a lot in Goliad.
Oh well, hold on. So here, you won't. Man, you won't necessarily. You maybe okay. Yeah. Here's look. So if someone is passed away, or they're just a lifetime member and
Sure.
they're not paying per capita, yeah, you're gonna make a little bit of money on the endowments. You can raise the endowment high enough that it will
That's what my
cover
lodge is.
what they would
$500
be paying
endowment.
from dues. But say you have a 20-year-old Mason, okay, or 30-year-old.
Absolutely.
Any age is relatively young
Yeah.
as a Mason. If they buy that endowment, and if the endowment's still set at the minimum, say like $500, because I'm saying that because most lodges are $500. Okay, then the per capita right now, and it's going to increase. We know it's going to increase. It has to. It's $27.50. That's what the per capita is. With the new resolutions that were passed this year, you're going to get a 5% return. So 5% of $500 is around $25. So you're going to lose $2.50. And say you have that $200 due, since we kind of established that's maybe the average. You're also going to lose the dues that you would have received.
Yeah.
And so when you take into account the money that you would be losing
I'm
over
not
this guy's
talking about a
lifetime,
young Mason.
when he does pass away,
I mean,
I'm
you
talking
really
getting
are.
a return at that point. But that return
I'm
has
not,
to make
though.
up for all
I'm
the
not,
money
though.
that you would have lost in his lifetime.
I'm talking about
But
an elderly
before you
Mason
can really say,
that,
now we're
that
making
wouldn't be
profit.
able to. If you got a
And
guy
if
that
you
can't
really crush the
afford
numbers,
the
that could be a very long time.
hobby,
And by the time
at
that by
20
the
or 30, then he can't afford the hobby.
huh? Yeah, I know. I
You
am
can
talking
help
about young
him. You
Mason.
can help
I am.
him
I
1
am.
year, but
I am. You're absolutely
after
right.
that, you got to rethink what his hobby is. If you got a guy that can't afford the hobby at 20 or 30, then you can't afford the hobby.
Yeah. And
You can help him. You can help him 1 year.
Yeah.
and that kind of
Yeah.
You got to think about rethink what his hobby.
and that goes back to I guess the original point I was going to make before we kind of got sidetracked. If the endowments are where they should be, that's a pretty big decision for the lodge if you're going to actually endow him or not. And yeah, I think that goes back to the active membership. If you have an active member, and we kind of had this dilemma at my lodge, because we raised our dues last year, and then we got a letter from a brother who sent his dues in and said, "Look, guys, this is the last time I'm going to pay dues. I had a stroke a few years ago, and I can't get the lodge." And a lot of the brothers were like, "Well, I don't feel comfortable taking this check because he can't come to the lodge." And then some of the other brothers were like, "He wasn't coming to the lodge before he had a stroke. He wasn't an active member." And so I personally don't have I don't. At
But
this
is
point, I
he
don't really have
active
a
anywhere? Does he go to
side,
any lodge?
right? I'm still, but it's something you got to consider.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of options that are looked at. There's like either you
See,
can
because
remit
that's
as
the
dues for the
dilemma that
year,
we
but it's
have in
only a
my
short-term
lodge, because Lubbock is
solution.
a college
You can
town.
give them a lifetime
And so
membership.
we have a lot of kids who come in, become Master Masons, move off, do their career. That's
No,
why
not
I'm really
anymore,
push
but he
for,
wasn't
like,
before.
if you want to
The
petition
stroke pretty
Freemasonry,
much
I really
killed him
think
from
that the
leaving the
best
house.
age to do that's between 25 and
But
30,
before that, no,
35.
he wasn't
Because
active
you're
anyway.
really
He was
set
just
in
a
your
member.
life. That's kind of where you're ready to take
Where
off
you're
and
gonna
grow as a
be,
person, as a
yeah.
human being.
Yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, if you think you're ready, I'm not going to say no to you just to join in and do what you need to do. But we have brothers that, are in Florida or in Georgia in our lodge. They're still dues paying member, but I've never seen them before. They will not be back to lodge. So is that our job to say contact them? And this is something that we were talking about in our Bring a Brother Back program, because I was in that committee for my lodge. Do we go to those brothers? Do we call them up or email them and say, hey, we realize that you're never going to come back to this lodge. We understand that this is where you're raised. It'll always be your mother lodge. It'll hold a special place in your heart. Would you like us to help you find a lodge in your area that you can actually be a part of and be active in the fraternity again? So I just have a really hard time when you got guys who haven't been to lodge in 3, 4, 5 years, but they're not going to any lodge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just have a really hard time when you got guys who haven't been to lodge in 3, 4, 5 years, but they're not going to any lodge.
That's the dilemma, man, because
Yeah.
I think you learn a lot about Freemasonry outside the lodge, but I don't think Freemasonry benefits you unless you come to the lodge. At least whenever you can. And likewise, I think, and this is probably a selfish view, but I think you have to provide something of value to the lodge before you can turn around and ask for something of value.
Yeah.
And that just may be being an active member. I'm not saying you have to like make donations or anything. I'm just saying if you went through your master's 10 years ago and never showed up, and then all of a sudden you're saying, hey, I'm in a pickle, it presents a dilemma. Like,
Well, I
we should
mean,
help
the
him. He's a
biggest thing
Mason,
about
but
coming to lodge is,
I think
lodge
what-
is just
what
a
we
business
probably should
meeting.
do
We're
is
deciding to
help
pay the
him- at least
bills. We're
help him once.
praying for sick
Maybe
and
not-
distressed brothers,
maybe
and we're
not
going through and closing lodge up
yourself
and
out
having a
to do
good
it.
night.
but help. And then
I
if
sit
he-
outside of lodge. I
but he
sit in
never
the
shows
parking
up,
lot,
he-
and we
he
smoke
turns around and
cigars
asks
and
for
have
more.
a good time,
It
talk
also
about
depends on the
life.
value, right?
I tell
He's
my
asking
brothers
for-
what's going on with my job. Am I having a good week at work this week? Is my family okay? Are my kids healthy? That's where we learn about each other. And then if something ends up happening in my life, it's going to be like, hey, guys, brother Zach, he's in a pickle. He needs some help right now. Did you guys hear about his kid? Oh yeah, he talked about that in the parking lot last week.
Yep.
Is my family okay? Are my kids healthy?
Mhm.
That's where we learn about each other.
Yeah.
And then if something ends up happening in my life, it's going to be like, hey, guys, brother Zach, he's in a pickle. He needs some help right now. Did you guys hear about his kid? Oh yeah, he talked about that in the parking lot last week.
I have. This was I didn't think about it until we started having this conversation. It happened several years ago. But
Yeah.
One of my old lodges, a guy like we're talking about, never showed up. No one knew who
Spending
he
problem.
was, but he was a member of that lodge. He's like, hey, I don't even remember the reason, but he asked for some money, and so the lodge gave him a couple $100. And then you go on his Facebook and you look, and this guy's
I kind of like
drum
just
sets
to
and-
get it off the negative now.
and it's like,
I
no,
kind of
no,
like
this
your
guy,
idea.
he doesn't have a financial problem.
Fluff
He has
about
a
contacting
accounting
those,
problem.
those
Yeah,
members
spending
outside
problem.
of
Exactly.
your
So
lodge
it's again
that
it's
aren't
the value of
active
Facebook,
any.
right? It
Now
tell you a lot.
we
This guy
have
just came back from
a
Cancun
lot of
and he's
members
asking
like
for
that.
money. There's a
Lots of
problem there.
people want to be members of Goliad, and so they usually just come in and drop down an endowment and keep on trucking. But they're
Sure.
usually plural members, and I'm also a plural member. I have my membership with my mother lodge. That's my mother lodge. I
Yeah.
was raised there, right? And so I keep that. But I like that idea, Colin, especially in your situation, because y'all are in a college town. You can always tell that brother, you can visit any lodge. You're a Mason.
Yeah.
You're a Mason and your
Yeah.
dues are paid. You can visit any lodge. Are you doing that? Let's get you plugged in. because we care about you as your mother lodge, and we want to see you succeed as a Freemason. That's a great idea. If there is
Yeah.
if there was anything to add to the Bring a Brother Back program, you just touched on it, man. That's an awesome idea. And Justin, you better not edit this out. I know you want to, but no, I'm talking about when we. Oh, great! I was hoping you were going to edit something. You just touched on it, man. That's an awesome idea. And Justin, you better not edit this out.
Dennis is fired.
Literally, there's no way to edit it. It's live. It's gonna save as soon as we're done. As soon as I hit end stream, it saves and it's there and it's posted. Man, I totally even forgot. What the
I'm not inspired
I was gonna say
anymore.
something that
Yeah,
was
I
gonna
can't.
be life-changing
You've
and
got to
insightful.
inspire me before I
And
can
then-
have parting
I
thoughts.
know,
Come
Dennis,
on, man.
Dennis. But
See how you're leaving me?
I don't
God.
remember. I don't
See,
remember.
this is how it is
But anyway,
every week.
let's
This
have
guy,
parting
I'm
thoughts.
telling you,
because
I
20
have
minutes
to
ago I said we
pull
need
the
to
I can't believe y'all do
information.
this every week.
I have to pull the information out of him every
so
week.
I'll. So you don't have much to say?
Sutliff, I don't know if you're still in here, but Justin is you and Dennis is me. Y'all are just on the other side of the state. That's all.
Right. That's awesome.
He's so
Parting
damn
thoughts
sensitive.
about what? Anything?
About
this- we do
anything
this
that
every
we've
week.
talked about,
We do
or
this every
anything
week.
that you would like to get out there that's going to be frozen in time.
Okay. Well, here's my parting thoughts, and this is just to you guys. I want to give you guys a special
Fluff,
thank you
parting
because
thoughts.
I know that I've relayed it to y'all through messages, a couple comments, and everything like that.
Anything,
But
anything
for anybody
that,
who is
yeah.
watching this right now, may stumble across it in the future. Justin Jones, your Masonic Improvement podcast, when it was just you, inspired me to get out there and talk to somebody about Freemasonry. Dennis Yates, you have inspired me to not be afraid of making people a little bit angry. So I want to thank y'all for that. And I say that jokingly. I say it jokingly, but I mean it seriously. If you're not stepping on toes and if you're not, taking that iron and running across something rough, you aren't sharpening yourself. You aren't making yourself grow.
Right.
So thank you guys for doing that and encouraging me in my TikTok. And for anybody who's not following these guys, be sure you give them a follow. If you're not following me, please follow me on TikTok, Brother Fluff MM. And I just want to say that I am extremely proud to be a Texas Freemason. And I am very excited about what the future holds with good guys like this and all over the nation that are trying to get in the social media thing. Because one thing we didn't talk about tonight, but I want to just bring it up, I've been getting a lot of people messaging me and a lot of people coming up to me in real life and being like, hey, Fluff, have you seen that so-and-so is basically copying you? So-and-so is basically copying you. This person's doing this thing here. And you know what? I don't really care. And I'm not saying that like in a rude way. I copied somebody when I started doing this stuff, and the guys I copied are right here. And I think the more that we get ourselves out there, the more that we talk about this light, the more we tell people and show people that we're just normal guys trying to have a good time and trying to be better men, the more reception we'll have when we talk to potential candidates and show ourselves online. So, guys, thank you for inspiring me to do what I do. Yeah.
Okay. I usually go last, anyways. Go ahead.
That's what she said.
I didn't
I
say
appreciate
that,
that.
most
That's-
worshipful.
That's thank you. I do want to say I want to comment a few. These are my parting words, Dennis, for the record. First of all, there's. Anyway, there's only one way to go through life. This is a saying. I don't remember where it's quoted from. There's only one way to go through life without offending somebody. It's say nothing, do nothing, and be nothing. And none of those correlate with Freemasonry. or they shouldn't. And so you're absolutely right. You can't make progress without upsetting somebody. It's just going to happen. And I think sometimes we're so worried about peace and harmony and fear of upsetting somebody that's why so many lodges are stagnant right now. That's why for a long time things did not change in our fraternity.
Yeah.
Are they changing now? Yes. But for the longest time they didn't. I also want to say as far as I want to piggyback on what you said about
You
reaching out to you.
He
starting
did
social
sound like
media.
him. But I did
and I'll
too.
tell you,
I
man,
feel like it.
just do it. Just do it. Just get out there. And Fluff called me out because on my last video, I sounded like an old fart. I was like, man, I don't understand the TikTok. There's no way I'm ever going to do that. And no, after I listened to it, after I posted it, I listened to it the next morning. And I was like, that's not me. That's like some loser talk. And so I just went out there and started doing it. Just do it. Just do it, man. And it's a trial and error. And of course you're gonna find somebody and you're gonna emulate them, right? Like my biggest inspiration wasn't even a Masonic podcast. It was a personal development podcast. Masonically, Fort Worth 148. I mean, that's what inspired me to get into the Masonic podcasting niche.
Yes.
But I got most of my inspiration from Order of Man, from that podcast. I just love the formats and everything. And for the longest time, a lot of my stuff probably sounded as close to what he was doing as I could. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, even if someone's copying you right now, they're going to develop their own niche, their own spin on things. People usually just copy you just to get started. Like, I really like how this guy does it. I want a podcast like his. I'm going to copy it as best I can.
This is no lie.
The thing is,
on
some
Seth
things will work for this
stuff, I'm
person,
so
that
proud
will
of
work
him,
for
and I've done it a little bit with you too,
and
Justin.
you will develop
whenever I see
your
y'all
own-
on TikTok,
your own
I'll
way
be like,
as
ooh,
time
hey,
goes on.
that'll make a good video.
But the bottom line
you
is,
left a
man,
really
just-
good comment there.
just-
You should turn that
now,
into a video.
Seth Spangler,
Or,
I'm
ooh,
looking at
hey,
you right
need
now.
to do this
I
instead of
expect to
doing
see a
this,
podcast
just because I know
from
from my
you
own
within the next
personal
3
page,
months.
it
No
works.
excuses.
You know. So I hope y'all don't mind me like doing the little nudges and stuff every now and then, but the more that we get out there, the better we do it, the more people we reach, which means eventually the more growth we're going to have in lodges. It may not be Texas, but I'm telling you right now, Texas TikTok is blowing the game up. We are rocking it right now. But the more
showed
we
me
get
several
out there,
tricks that I
the
didn't
more
know
we
was
do
there.
it, the
So I
better off
appreciated
our
that.
lodges are going to be. And I just told you your final thought. I'm sorry. How rude of me.
All right.
Triple T, baby.
Now some actual words of wisdom.
Yep.
No,
No,
I
it's all
love
good.
it.
I was.
I love it.
I know. I
That's
know.
awesome. Oh, I love
This
it.
was. That
So,
was. I was done with
That
my
was
final
awesome.
thought.
Thank you.
So brace
Keep-
yourself,
Keep me humble. Keep me humble.
Dennis. I guess you can go now.
No, really though.
Oh my God.
Golly, there's
You put on
so
that
many
right
things
Rosal
going
vest
through
and
my
your
mind
head
right
just
now with
just
those- with
explodes with
just those
ego.
thoughts. So, first of all, I love what you're doing on TikTok. I truly do.
Thank you.
Fluff, you got it going on. I've said it on here that I don't think I could do that. I'm just not that fast, and you've experienced that tonight. I sit and I think about things and I mull them over and then I put them out, and sometimes I'll stop in the middle of my thought and just to finish it because really I don't think like that. I have to really take some time sometimes. But man, you're absolutely right. If somebody is emulating you, what I have to say is do it well, and do it smart, and do it sharp, and make yourself look good, and make us look good. Make the fraternity look good. Don't do it just to be some kind of a jackal and just to try to get likes, because that's not real. What we're looking for is real meaning, real listeners, real contributors in life. We're looking for contributors in life, not just people throwing up, shake your booty things on TikTok. That's
Which we do sometimes, but people like my booty.
you know
I have one, unlike you.
I was gonna say I tried, but apparently it's not good enough. So, but no, this was one of my favorite interviews, and really it's because it's just like my favorite moments in Freemasonry, and that's just sitting and chewing the chud with some guys and going through all kinds of tough topics. And anybody that really knows me, and if you spend a little bit of time on these podcasts and listen to what we say, I may ruffle some feathers every once in a while, but it's never in anger. I'm never angry when I'm talking about anything. I did not say it like that. It was not that angry. Yeah, I have. I listen to myself regularly. So
we are downloading some videos tonight. I got some TikTok content to make.
In this polarized
You shut your mouth, past master. You shut your mouth.
Good one. You got to cut that one out.
Oh, you want to go back and listen to it?
In this polarized world, as you can tell, our world needs Freemasonry because we take the polarization out. If you're a true Freemason, you believe in the best in your brother, no matter what's being said. You try to believe in the best in your brother first. And then that allows you to continue that conversation and to get to the meat and potatoes of Freemasonry. And get to that brotherly love. Peace and harmony is not the end result. We've talked about this before. Peace and harmony is a mindset of hearing your brother out, especially when you're trapped in a car with him going down the highway. You have to shut your mouth, listen, let him say what he's got to say, and then come up with an intelligent response. And that's peace and harmony. That peace and harmony is not shutting up and letting things just be what they're going to be and letting the wind flow how it's going to flow. This isn't the 60s anymore. Peace and harmony is being intelligent, being being assertive with your thoughts, and being mindful of what you're saying. That's peace and harmony, and always thinking the best of your brother. So, I've been told that I try to stir things up, and I do post shock jock kind of things sometimes just to get you excited about coming on and listening to us. That's the only reason I do that kind of stuff. I want you to listen to us because once you do, you'll see that we talk about the hard topics, but it's all in brotherly love, and it's all to better the fraternity. And I think no matter how you listen, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, on Spotify or Anchor, whatever your medium is, if you're I don't see how somebody could really do it with the tweet, but if you're into tweets, then do the tweets. The Twitter, that bird, that.
So I was downloading some content on my Instagram. Are you on MeWe, Dennis? Are you on MeWe?
No, I've thought about it. Have you seen that?
The tweet.
Of course you did.
Oh man.
Have you seen that movie,
Oh,
The
my God.
Internship? I'm sure you have. And he's like, no, this is completely different. You take a picture and you don't say anything. You just send it to somebody.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
But seriously, folks.
He's still on MySpace. He just figured out MySpace.
Masonic Improvement. We are here for you. If you feel like you're on an island out there, give us a holler, give us a shout, and that goes for Brother Fluff as well. If you're serious about Freemasonry or you're interested in Freemasonry, we can help you get to the right people. Stop sighing, Justin. We're already past 3 hours. We're already past 3 hours. Yeah.
4 hours and 45 seconds now.
Awesome. I'm going to Laredo next weekend. By the way, next weekend is the Washington March in Laredo. See you there.
No, I
will be there.
I was actually just thinking we made we made a
Y'all are
video long
losers.
enough
Y'all are
that if
losers.
you're
I
traveling
have a
from like
wedding to go
Waco
to.
to
Yeah,
El Paso,
loser.
this will last
I'm
you half
gonna
the
be
trip.
at the march in Washington, or at the march in Laredo, the Washington March. I don't even know what it's called. It's Grand Lodge.
Wearing that vest.
It's Grand Lodge's first time to
I will
really
be
officially show
in
up, and we're
Texas,
gonna
in
do a
Central
grand
Texas.
procession in the parade. So it's gonna be pretty
Yeah.
awesome. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
So come down if you can.
And go march in Washington. Yeah.
Absolutely.
A very long discussion.
Yeah.
It was awesome. We're gonna do it again.
All right, brothers. Well, Zach, thanks again for coming on. This is once we got the bugs
Oh,
figured out.
Lord.
This has been hopefully we got the bugs figured out. No one's complained in a while.
Thank God. Okay, I
Yeah.
can do it.
So hopefully, yeah, this has been
All
everything
right.
I was hoping it would
So
be.
Mo to be, guys.
Take care.
After I end the stream, if you guys will stay on Skype, we'll do a little mini wrap up.